Welcome to the NBA Draft Special edition of Two Deep. This is a Sons of Saturday show, and I am your host, Pete B. On the screen, you can see my friend Richard. He's been on the program a couple of different times. Friends from College episode, last year's NBA show. And if you go back to 2017, our live show from downtown Crown, where we got drunk previewing the Kentucky basketball game so many years ago. How you doing, Richard?
Here's to that. Very good. Ready to honor my traditions.
You're getting on with that Evan Williams. I'm starting
I like
off.
to pair it with the spindrift directly in.
What flavor is that? That's a pink spindrift. Does that go?
It's a raspberry lime, and you just pour that Evan Williams right in, and then you take it to your office.
I was telling Richard, I found these golden cans of Miller Lite, and since this may be a little bit longer of a show and it's a special occasion, I had to go for the Miller Latte, but this can makes it seem luxurious. How you doing tonight, man? You feeling good? You ready for this?
I am ready. Yeah. I mean, no, this is like the least I've ever prepared for an NBA draft. My work has been kicking my ass, so it's been challenging, but we're gonna get it done.
You're always pretty locked in regardless, though. Like even your low end of being aware of the guys coming out of high school, since you follow Kentucky basketball so closely, you're always aware of the top prospects and the pedigree guys. And we're going to talk about some of that tonight as we kind of go through this. As I just indicated, Richard and his brother, who will be joining us shortly, he's on a business trip in Phoenix and is going to be joining us from the hotel room, we assume, as soon as he gets back. They're big Kentucky guys. They were born there, I want to say, and then have been fans their whole life. And so locked into basketball, though Richard is a Virginia Tech grad and roots for Hokies football and some basketball, but more of a Kentucky lean there.
Women's Virginia Tech basketball is my number one.
Okay. All right.
BT men's basketball number two behind Kentucky, but
okay. Yeah, the women's teams are fun, and now you have our old coach, or at least Mike does, because Mike roots hard for everything Kentucky. That's where he went, and so you guys are the perfect people to break this down. This is why we do this every year, and a lot of our content is Hokie related. This one's going to be a little bit Hokie related. We're going to get into the Mike Young reboot, revamp a little bit later, maybe after the Wizards pick, and that's kind of why we do this, is because we've got a lot of Wizards fans that follow the pod. We've got a lot of Hornets fans that follow the pod in Virginia Tech. We're going to talk about those picks. In addition to my team, the Philadelphia 76ers, we're going to talk about them because they're at 3, and it might prove pivotal, right, Richard? There's been a lot of talk about teams potentially moving up to 3.
I'm so pissed they're even in this position. But, it's a good reminder for everybody who, they think that the probability rankings are the same thing as what the odds actually are of something happening. I mean, you just got a low probability chance, but it paid off for you all, and you're in a great position because of it. And the question I would have always for you is like, directionally, where do you want to go? Yeah. So, you could go with somebody who maybe has a much higher upside, much better chance to pair with Maxey in the future, who could, maybe get you to another 2-star down the road in 5 years. Or you could look for something that's going to work with the team you have now, ready to play in the playoffs. And not sure what approach you'd go for there in this particular draft, especially at 3. But what are you thinking?
There's a lot of talk about the 2 timelines, right? Are we on the Embiid timeline where he's in his prime and we have to go for it now? Or are we going to center around Maxey and McCain and maybe a Quentin Grimes and kind of go with that timeline? And does that affect what you do in this draft? I think one thing I've learned from watching the NBA since the process started, and I do have one of my process shirts on, I'll talk about it later, is that paying attention to timelines is stupid. Like you don't know when someone's going to develop all of a sudden. You don't know if a guy's going to take 5 years in his second team to be good. It's happened all over the NBA. And then you have teams like Indiana who they're good with Paul George. Then they trade him away, but then they make 2 really good trades and win them both on the margins. And all of a sudden they're in the NBA finals. So you never know when those timelines are going to hit. So if the Sixers stay at 3, I think you simply have to choose the best player available. You're not choosing for fit whatsoever. You're not debating on whether they fit with Maxey and in the backcourt with McCain and, oh, we have too many short guards. No, whatever guy has the highest upside. And like, honestly, at 3, you have to do that. You have to go upside. I don't think you're even going for higher floors, even if you're in the Sixers camp. You're not looking for a role player at 3. Do you agree with that?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, I just don't know that you have the temperament for that. Like as a fan base, it'll be interesting to see if you get, I don't know who you have on your, well, I think I do actually know who you have on your big board, but that's a challenge of, VJ, I think that's who you've got, if I recall,
Yes.
at number 3. So like VJ is a great player. He provides a lot of probably what you need. Yeah, there you go. So he's going to be able to bridge that gap. It still be best player, still have pretty high end stuff. Obviously, I've got him at number 3. Mike's got him at number 3. There are guys with higher ceilings overall, but the likelihood of those hitting is lower. Or you look Khan on my board and Mike's are on your board and Mike's board at 4. He's a guy who's definitely going to be ready to go. You could see him fitting also, but he's just not going to give you the chance at the second timeline. That's well, maybe he will, but like the odds are he's probably just going to be a high end role player at most, and DJ's given you a little bit there, a little bit to get it done. So I think I agree. I just don't know with any of these guys after really Cooper, even Dylan. I don't know for a fact is going to be a hit. It just seems highly likely. So.
Yeah, the Dylan thing being, and I showed the boards a second ago, but it's Cooper 1 on all of ours. It's Dylan 2, and there's not really any much variance until we get to about 7 or 8 on all of our boards. Me, you, and Mike.
Yeah.
One thing that was interesting about the national scale, moving back, and we'll go back to the Sixers in a little bit, is that these mocks outside of those top 7 really do have a ton of variance, and maybe it's 6 because. You look at Malach, like he's 14 on the Ringer board the other day, 7 on ESPN. Fears is between 7 and 10 on a lot of boards, but 20 on the Ringer. And then Chase Richardson, a lot of varied opinions on him. There's so many players that after those, especially the first 2, there's kind of a tier from 3 to 7 or 8. And then there seems to be a tier just to the end of the first round after that, where people just are kind of all over the board. And that, I think last year we were thinking like next year's draft is going to be good because you always say the Wizards win the lottery in the worst years to win it.
Yes.
And
right, yeah.
last year was not a good draft. We all knew that.
No.
And this year was expected to be better. But I would say like outside of the top 2, maybe top 5, I don't think this draft there's a lot of flaws in a lot of these guys. I don't think it's that great either.
Well, I think a lot of people went back, right? So the NIL changes, the ability to pay some of the players. I saw your joint guest on one of your pods earlier and did not want to call it pay for play, the lawyer.
Right.
That's it's having a very one-time effect. If you recall when the last CBA went in for the NBA, not this like latest one with the double apron, but the earlier one, it caused a one-time thing that got the Warriors Kevin Durant. And I think this is kind of the negative inverse of what's happening here in this particular draft. It's the lightest number of players I think that have put their names in the hat and kept their names in the hat in like 20 years or something. I don't remember the exact number, but a lot of the guys who maybe would have been fringe people that you're excited about, or they can make $1 million of playing for a team, or you have Europeans that maybe are not interested. And I know you'll have more to say on that throughout the show with respect to the Hokies, but like you've got guys here, whether they're overseas, coming from Europe or Asia or some of these other areas, they're going to stay or they're going to go directly to the NCAA now and have a chance because they're still making plenty good money. So there's no reason to rush it. So what we're left with is some mixed bag of guys who are like, screw that, I don't want to do it. And the folks who are older, and those are typically not, aside from the top end, those are not people who like get you really excited in the middle of the draft, because their upside either pretty well known or their downsides are all everybody can see.
Yeah. There was a lot of guys that went back to school, and you said that. that really affects you when it comes towards the end of the first round into the second round. Like the second round picks this year, that might have been why you've seen teams, trade for picks next year. The Wizards did that, correct? This week. They kind of deferred their second round pick, and it has diluted this draft in particular. But I don't think one thing I thought was interesting about some of the top guys is that you've heard the character of a Khan, a VJ, a Trey, Malik, Coward. These guys are all like super hard, dedicated workers. And that's something that I can't say about every draft. Like I kept hearing that. It's like, oh, this guy just wants to get better. And some of that you can tell is coach speak, but sometimes when you keep hearing it again and again, like the Coward stuff, like he started in what was it, D2 or D3, moved all the way up, and then played. Unfortunately, he only played 6 games in D1 last year, but he is focused and determined to get better and better. And Malik has only been playing basketball for 6 years, I want to say. And so there's upside. I think there's some high floors, a lot of role players in this draft, but the true home run superstars, it is a crapshoot. From 2 on, it is a crapshoot.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So I see our other buddy, Robert. I'm sorry. Did I interrupt you? You going to say something?
No, you're good.
Let me add Robert to the screen. What's going on, Rob? How you doing, man?
What's up, Richard? It's been almost exactly a year since I've talked to you, Yeah. Annual tradition. Yeah.
There you go.
Well, let's talk about the Hornets and the Wizards here. I've got odds for pick 4 and pick 6. FanDuel odds for number 4, and these were just from a couple hours ago, so if they shifted, that's my bad. But Khan was the top odds at number 4. Ace was plus 300, VJ plus 480, Trey at plus 700. Are you happy with that Khan pick, if that's what it's going to be, Rob?
Yeah, for sure. So I have Khan ranked 4th on my board. So I mean, the only player I think that would be available that I would want more would be Trey Johnson. But honestly, Khan's probably a better fit for the Hornets anyway. I think I just like Trey Johnson more as a player. So, I mean, I'd be thrilled about that. I know the Ace Bailey odds are kind of sliding in the direction I don't necessarily love them sliding to, but I almost wonder if they're going to trade back. There seems to be a lot of smoke around that.
There's definitely a lot of talk about Sixers, Hornets, and Wiz all kind of trading and being involved with the Ace thing, with the Sixers being involved in that we're not going to take him. The Wizards potentially definitely taking him. And that's something that's been interesting about Ace. Been a lot of Ace drama this week. Everyone heard about how he canceled his Sixers trip and workout. And then he didn't want to work out for 2 other teams, which one included the Hornets. Do you think he's kind of guiding himself to the Wiz for touches, Richard?
I hope so. I mean, I like Ace. I think he's got the chance to be out of the league in his next contract. So I'm not super, super high on like he's a sure thing, but his upside is so enticing that would be awesome. At 6, we were so disappointed to have to get pushed all the way down there after some bad, ping pong ball luck. So if we end up at a guy who at the start of the season or even the start of this process for the draft was, up there at 3 or 4 the whole time, I think that's where we wanted to be anyway. I mean, obviously we would have preferred Dylan or Cooper, but I'll take him at 6, 100%, and be excited about it. His representation makes me a little nervous, and the advice that he was getting as part of that guidance process seems to have been, the people around him trying to influence him in ways that I don't think teams want, right? So that kind of decision making is not something that you want to see moving forward. But unlike pretty much any year that I've been alive at all as a Wizards fan, or just period alive, the management of this Wizards front office actually does seem to have a solid infrastructure together, a development pipeline, a mechanism to probably separate some of the people around him from him and put the right influences towards him, especially around building veterans in and give him guidance as well. So yeah, I'd love it. That'd be incredible.
Yeah, I didn't realize that John Thompson III, former Georgetown coach, is involved in y'all's front office. I think that's It's pretty awesome. That dude's been around college basketball his whole life, and if anybody can scout, it's that guy.
Yeah.
I also want to make it clear too that I am not an Ace Bailey hater. I know I made it seem that way. I just have him. I have him 5th on my board. Like I would still be like, I would not be upset if he was a Hornet. I just feel like there will be better players available. Like if they can get Con or Trey there, I'll feel great about it. But if at the end of the day Ace is a Hornet, like I'm not going home unhappy.
Yeah,
Well,
I
what's
mean,
your
what you're
thought
talking
on
about.
I want to know your thought on LaMelo. Like, can you surround your continued build around that guy? Because that's like when you say you like Trey, for example, I
Yeah.
assume the reason you don't want Trey is because you have LaMelo, and the combination is probably not a very fruitful one for defense. But like, how do you frame that when you're thinking about your future?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think defensively you're right, but I think what I would say about a backcourt that would have LaMelo, Trey, and Brandon Miller is even though it's not currently a strong defensive backcourt, they're all very long and quick.
Yeah.
So there is still, I would hope that they would be able to mold that into being somewhat serviceable. The concern I have for Trey is ultimately what the Hornets really lack is offensively, they're terrible at driving to the basket, like no rim pressure whatsoever, except for Miles Bridges. And, I mean, he's a little more hit or miss, but while Trey is, arguably the best shooter in the class, he's not very good at getting to the rim, and it would just be more of the same. And, you kind of end up with a 4 or 5 out offense at certain points, and it might get pretty stale, and you might have more LaMelo step back 35 footers.
And so if you're saying, if you had 2 prospects that you both really liked and you're on the fence, you're gonna waffle for that fit rather than going for the guy who you might think has a slightly better chance of success. Or am I wrong there?
I would still take Trey over Khan because I believe in the talent. And ultimately, I don't think LaMelo is the type of player where you're like, no, absolutely cannot move this guy. Like if there's a fit that's not good, then I'm open to moving LaMelo. Yeah. I think answers your original question.
Right. Are you in
think,
the LaMelo business or not? Like that's
I'm in the Brandon Miller business. I'll tell you that much.
Oh, there you go.
I whenever those odds drop for most improved player, like give me Brandon Miller, man. I think he was on track to have a really special season before he got hurt. And I mean, I think he can be a 24 to 25 point per game scorer. He's just got that kind of upside and length and can really channel that Paul George that he loves to claim that he has.
So he's winning the him or Scoot battle right now, right? Wasn't that the
unequivocally? Yeah. And I will never forgive Bill Simmons and Ryan Russillo for making me feel like an idiot.
Oh, sweet. I think I see Mike in the green room. Let me add him so we can do a cheers here. Mike, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Sorry, I'm late. Can y'all hear me all right?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can hear
nice.
you. Welcome to the show. I see you're repping the upside down hat and everything.
Yeah.
All right. Well, why don't we kick it off with the cheers? Robert, do you want to do the honors tonight since Sam's not here?
Yeah. Cheers to a much better draft class, and we don't have to try to pretend that some mediocre players are really good like we did last year. That was tough. We were really grinding through that.
Maybe later on,
still trying to do that.
Cheers.
I had to listen to y'all defend Alex Sarr. It was a tough night.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot of defense last year.
Well, that's an interesting question for the Wizards. Like, do you think whoever you end up getting at 6, because I like the top 6. I actually feel pretty strongly, and I think there is, and I don't have Jeremiah Fears in my top 6, to be clear, but I feel good about at least 6 players in this draft. Would you rather have your 6th pick in this draft or the number 1 pick in last year's draft?
I think I'd take 6 this year. I think I would.
Yikes.
Yeah. Get wrecked, Risa Shea. Jeez.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree, honestly, because if I could get Ace at 6, let me put up our boards again, Mike. I shared this image. If I could get Ace at 6, or I could get Trey at 6, or Khan at 6, or even VJ, which obviously that would be great. That's better than what was available last year at the top pick. Now, maybe we wouldn't have said that a year ago, but because I did like Sarr, but I don't know. I feel strongly that there's a lot of star power upside with Trey and VJ, and then very, very good players in Khan and Ace Bailey. And then the first two, I think we all are hoping or thinking they're going to be all-star caliber level, potentially one day all NBA. You guys have complained a number of times about the Wizards telegraphing their picks over the years. Do you think the new front office is still doing that? Do you feel like that happened this year? And we're about to get the Cooper pick here right now. There it is.
Yeah, I mean, there's Cooper. I think for me, my initial inclination is to say yes, they are, because all these backdoor meetings with Fears and some other folks seems like they're making it pretty clear that's the direction they want to go. But if I try to put my rational hat on, this front office has been pretty rational, and I think they really want to see Carrington with the ball in his hands, and shipping out someone like Poole kind of goes along with that trend as well. So Fears as the pick would surprise me a little, and he's the only one I feel like they might have telegraphed. If it's not him, then I don't feel like they have. So I'm a little back and forth on it. We'll see. If it's Fears, then I believe they did. Otherwise, I think they've done a pretty good job.
Yeah, I think time will tell here, right? Because what typically happens when you get in front of Danny Ainge is he's a jackass who tries to manipulate everything around him so that you end up having to cough up something to move up one spot. And that's, who he is. Everybody knows that asshole in your life that is the one that takes advantage of the situation. And that's Danny Ainge. So my hope is actually that they're playing a game here and that they're telegraphing Fears because they want Ace and they don't want to pay the Danny tax. And I would be impressed if that series of events happens. But if they go with Fears, yeah, it's what it was last year. And, it's fine at this level. It's not incredible. If they trade up and pay to get to Fears, though, I'll probably lose my mind on this.
Well, that's a question I had next. Is we didn't put tiers on our big boards, but is there anyone above the 6th pick that you would want to trade up and lose an asset to go get, Mike?
I don't think so. If you asked me at the beginning of the draft process, I would have said definitely for VJ or Ace. I think there's enough holes in both of their games that you're just as likely to find the right fit for your team and have scouted hopefully appropriately that you know exactly who you want. And it's one of those 6 guys that, like you said, I think Cooper's in his own tier, Dylan's in his own tier, and I would have had VJ and Ace in their own tier, but I don't think so anymore after looking at a bunch of the prospects over time. So yeah, I'm not paying a tax to move up. I think you're going to get a guy you like, and for the Wizards specifically, I think enough of them will fit into what we're trying to build at this point that I'm not worried about any sort of positional fit or anything like that.
Robert, taking a look at those 3 big boards on the screen, do you have anyone in the top 6 that we don't? Is there anyone outside? Is Fears in your top 6?
I have Yakushonis. Is that how you say his name?
You have
Illinois
Casper
kid?
in there.
I have Casper in there. Yes, I do.
Okay.
And I think the real hot take, and I'm not trying to be a hot take guy, but I have Edgecombe 8. And that's, I think
yeah, you have not, we've talked about this on back channels, but you are not an Edgecombe guy. And
yeah,
is that because of the shot? What is the reason?
It's the shot and the handle for me. I just think his offensive skill set is just so unrefined. And I see the scenario where it works out great, right? Like I have, like for his best case, I did a best case and a worst case comparison for all the players in like the lottery range.
I love
it. And for me, his best case is like peak Victor Oladipo, like all-star caliber Victor Oladipo, 20 points a game, has developed a shot, can take guys off the dribble, and is a freak athlete. But there's a lot of steps he has to take to get there. And I think the worst case is you're looking at somebody can be like Matisse Thybulle, just like this athletic defensive guy who just ultimately is an offensive liability. You leave alone in the corner. And I don't know. I can see it going a few different ways. I love his defense, but the offense is just kind of gross for me right now.
And the reports about his workouts and his shot not being good in the workouts weren't encouraging. I'll say this. One, he's a freak of an athlete. We all know that. His his shot improved in Big 12 play. It was better than it was early in the year. It was a little janky early in the year, and he worked on it. He measured better than people expected at the combine. Like, got to that 6'4" number. And he does so many things well, gets his hands in passing lanes, can block shots. He kind of like runs out of his shoes a lot, like out of control, but that seems very fixable. The finishing at the rim also seems fixable. The handle thing, that's more of a question mark. Like, but I believe in him. I have him 3. I think like I looked at like Kason Wallace, right, in the finals this year. Could I see VJ? Not that the Sixers are going to be in the finals, but could I see VJ giving minutes in the finals and not getting completely ran off the floor? And I feel like I could, because he can compete athletically and stature wise with a lot of guys that are already in the league. But the shot thing, it worries me. It worries me. The at the rim stuff was atrocious. And so it's absolutely a concern. But like Mike said, there are so many guys with holes in their games. Once you get even in those top 6 guys that we like there are so many guys. That's why a Casper in my big board did jump up there. He's right outside. And in fact, I almost had him higher. I actually had Derek Queen at 6 like earlier today. And I brought him one spot down. I listened to something about Trey, and like, I had to go with him. Like, the shooting is just too good. And Queen has a lot of question marks. That's someone that Richard, you were saying that you weren't a Queen guy, and well, that's a different story, but you weren't a Derek Queen guy. But now he's in your top 10.
Yeah. I like, it's one of those ones that, so like I get 2 hot takes to go with the hot take. One, I very much dislike Jakob Jonas. I think he has no NBA skills, and I don't think he's going to succeed. But I'm literally basing that on the fact that we played them in the NCAA tournament, and he got swallowed up by better players, and he looked like crap when people were big enough. So like, that's a 1-game sample. It's probably not right. And if you listen to it, you're like, oh yeah, he's got some passing ability in a separate role. He can probably work, but like the role he was in there, just not gonna do it. And I was afraid of him when we went into the game, and then was like, look at this guy. But the same with Queen. Like, Derek Queen he's a very high skill offensive talent who is a little undersized for the role that he would play in the NBA. And he doesn't seem to quite have the ability to like jump out in a way that I would expect on, like, he shot 20% from 3. He didn't shoot a lot of threes, but he didn't shoot particularly great. His free throw percentage is solid for a big at 77, but like, you don't expect him to play a lot of defense. You don't expect him to have the ability to move as rapidly as an NBA player does. So the only reason I moved him back up is I started hearing stuff about how he acts on the court. So I went from, I've seen him play, I don't think that translates to the NBA. I look at his stats, I don't think they translate to the NBA. And then I hear a story, where he's like in the background saying he's going to dunk on you, motherfucker, to like somebody's face in the middle of a game. And I don't know if you're allowed to say those F words. I apologize, but
it's fine.
That's I like that attitude, and that attitude goes a long way. If you've got the mindset that you're going to kill everybody all the time, and you've got at least one advanced skill on offense, I could see that going a much better way than I had previously wanted to say. So I moved him back up, mostly because I heard he's a complete jerk on the court and wants to kill you. So
we got a comment from Grant, who's going to join us a little bit later. He said Harper was a much better fit for Dallas than Flagg. Not that they were ever going to consider that. Dallas playing 4 forwards with Kyrie at full health? ? This whole like Dallas getting the first pick thing, I moving away from Grant's point there, but like the conspiracy theories in terms of like, was it rigged? They trade away Luka. Then the Lakers get sold for $10 billion and the Dallas Mavericks get the first pick. Like, none of that went well for the NBA to beat the allegations. Let me just say that. But yeah, it's annoying that Dallas won the first pick, but people think it's annoying that Sixers got the third pick. So what can you do? I don't know if the Harper thing.
Yeah, you're rigged too, man. Like,
I know. Yeah. Yeah, but there's a big drop off to 3 at least that makes it a little bit less. But if it wasn't us, it would have been OKC who just won it all. So do you really want them with yet another pick?
They don't need number 7.
But yeah, Harper on the Mavericks, I'm not sure that makes much sense either. But
I mean, it would have been even less shooting. But I don't know. I mean, I do like Harper a lot. I think hilariously, like my best case for him was taller De'Aaron Fox, because I think that he is just this freak athlete, but he's up to like 6'6" and he can drive with furiosity and is so like crafty in the lane. Like it's like it's special, man. And I mean, sometimes he can get a little ahead of himself, but I mean, I'm a huge fan of him. I think he'd be a good fit on a lot of teams. I would have loved him in Charlotte. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, he would have made. I know, like we're talking about the fits, and I said earlier, like the fit doesn't matter. I would have taken Harper at 2, but that's instantly even more so than VJ. I think, like, all right, now what are you doing in the backcourt? Like, are you getting rid of somebody? Or are you moving somebody around? But we don't have to deal with that. VJ, if we do pick him, the Sixers are on the clock. I've been kind of expecting all day that we were going to trade this pick. But if Morey's picking a guy, I feel like it's going to be VJ. Like that, it seems like a Morey-ish guy.
What's going to make you angry? Like, we've got 2 minutes. What's going to piss you off?
I got to tell you, if we take Ace, I'd be angry. Like I don't want Ace Bailey. He was wearing a Mets uniform earlier this week, so already on the shit list. He canceled his workout after everything was booked. Shit list, and he's skinny, narrow shoulders. He can score, but he's at my 6 and was almost at my 7 or 8 for a reason. I think he can't get around anybody, and he's not baby Kevin Durant. He's very far from Kevin Durant, and I know that the comps are always. What's your comp for Ace Bailey? Speaking of which, Rob.
Best case, Rudy Gay, where he's just dropping 20 to 25 every game. Might be the best player on a terrible team. Not sure he's going to get any rebounds or assists, but he's just getting buckets out there. Worst case, and I think this is more of like, if he's not able to hit jump shots consistently and he kind of gets desperate trying to score, I see him being more of a Karis LeVert where he kind of over dribbles. May still end up with some points, but it's not efficient and it's just not what you want.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of that. And that's why I'm not in the Ace Bailey business. And I can't help. I know he can score with the best of them, very skilled scorer, but Rutgers has these 2 kids and they can't sniff the NCAA tournament. And I've been burned by this. Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons. Like we've taken these guys that can't drag their teams to the NCAA tournament despite being consensus number 1 overall picks.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards is the exception. Absolutely. But it just I prefer a player that won. I like guys that are able to win at the lower level.
I think he had the worst combination of offensive box plus minus and defensive box plus minus of any of the like upper ranking ones. Liam McNeely, weirdly, also poor, very poor. But like, he doesn't. You're literally drafting hope. Like that's what you're doing. You're looking at what he projects. And to your point, I was thinking about this when we were talking about VJ, and I went and looked it up. Like, go through the list of all the Baylor players who have had incredible promise while Baylor's good and they get their 5-star athletes and see how many of them turned into NBA All-Stars. The answer is 0. I think it's maybe there's like 1 good season out of somebody, but they don't turn out. So
I was in the Perry Ellis
worried about it.
camp. Like that was a long time ago, but I loved Perry Ellis. That's the right guy, right? Ooh. Perry Ellis the third.
Yeah.
I think the Sixers might have even had him at some point.
Yeah,
there it is.
He did roll through.
VJ to the Sixers.
All right, there you go.
I am pleased. Now this you could end up trading the pick tonight, but once it's made, that's a lot less likely. I feel like.
I think I'd do so. Robert had his earlier comp to Victor Oladipo. Like I think he could get to a Dwayne Wade level. I think that can be his higher end ceiling. Now you could say, like, does Dwayne Wade's lack of shooting play in today's NBA? I don't know. Maybe that's a little tougher, right? So that still doesn't mean he's going to have this all-world Hall of Fame career. But I think the athleticism there, the defense is there, the willingness to get to the basket is there. The shot form isn't bad. Like, he can work on it. I think there's some. I remember we were talking earlier this year, like he missed a dunk on the way to the hoop. I'm like, does he have tiny hands? And no, he doesn't have tiny hands. Like, they measured him at the combine.
that was like, a good question, though.
There's just some stuff that he needs to figure out how to put together. But I feel like everything that you've heard around him is that the work ethic is there, the attitude is there. Like, he's going to put the time in. He's going to go probably to the Sixers team that hopefully isn't putting pressure on him to go be a number one scorer. They got Maxey. They got obviously Embiid and
McCain, Grimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Paul George.
So, like,
Paul
he can be the defensive player to start, and you can slowly ramp up, like, his pick and roll time. So I think it's a really good spot for him to figure some things out. And the high upside is there, which you want in a top 5 pick.
The Dwayne Wade thing, I thought it with the shot blocking specifically, because Dwayne was an excellent shot blocker for his height. And you see that on tape with VJ. And I love him coming off the bench on this team, which he's obviously not going to be a starter. I think the third pick on a lot of teams may be a day one starter. But for us, he's not going to, and that's great, because I do think it's the kind of kid, if you're hearing that he's like a little nervous in his workouts and stuff, that's not exactly what you want to hear. But, like, all right, come off the bench. You've got 2 very good guards in front of you, some guys that can play on the team in general, like at the wing, at the 2. So you don't have to put a ton of pressure on yourself. You can learn and get better. And so
I think to your point, though, you don't want him to be like the 6th man off the bench that's supposed to lead the second unit and go out there and score a bunch of points, right? You still want to pair him with, like, rotating those minutes with McCain and Maxey and have him paired with one of those guys as he comes into the game off the bench. I think that's a good fit. And then over the course of the year, you give him more responsibility to try to lead the offense.
And you guys know Maxey's personality a little bit from the Kentucky days and even following him in the NBA. And McCain seems like a really good kid. It's a good culture fit too. I just feel like those guys are all going to get along. And Maxey signed for a number of years. McCain obviously just finished his rookie year and coming off the injury. So they're going to be together as long as nothing changes for a while. And having a strong backcourt is not a bad thing. But, like, the front court is a big question mark. But we can leave that there, because the Hornets are on the clock and all of Robert's guys are on the board. So who's your number 4?
Con is 4 and Trey's 3, so I'd be happy with either of them.
Okay, so
and
that's right, because you had VJ at 8. That's right.
Or honestly, all the smoke about them trading back,
Yeah.
I would not mind if Brooklyn was like, "Hey, here's 8 and a couple more of our first round picks." I wouldn't mind it.
I think all of us would want that, right? If any of us, our teams, were offered a certain package of lottery picks or even mid-teen picks, we might do that in this draft. You wouldn't?
No. I mean, there's nothing good we're going to get out of this draft. But, our picks that we have available to us are not going to combine for, like, next year's draft. They're going to give us something better. So, like, I'd rather keep the 6 and take what we get in this draft than try to trade out of that position at this point. Like, I can't imagine a scenario where that gets useful. So hopefully not.
You don't think like 8 and 14 would be better than 6?
No.
Okay.
No. Getting the guy you want, you trust in your evaluation, and you think that there's enough folks that are there. I mean, ask yourself the same question. You all did this when you drafted. Why is my brain breaking? The New York guy out of Villanova, and then immediately traded him to Phoenix.
Yeah, we drafted Bridges, and then we traded.
You drafted Bridges, and you traded him for
Zaire Smith or whatever his name was.
Well, yeah,
that was a botch.
Too, but he was out. Fair. He never came in. You moved like 2 picks back. We all thought that was a brilliant idea, and we were completely wrong.
We got a future first round pick from the Heat because of that. I would have rather had Bridges.
Yes, exactly. Fair. So, like, And like, I think those are the kinds of risks you take when you think that way. If you've got a good read on these, and they obviously have more information than we do, they can do workouts, they have interviews with college coaches, the high school coaches, the people in the pipeline, they've got evaluation tools, everybody's got analytics now, and all of that stuff's not even public, the stuff that you can do with the advanced tracking technology. So you would think that they've, you know, that those two picks can matter quite a lot. So like, especially in this draft, there's like like with Khan moving up, I didn't have Khan in my top 5. But if Khan moves into the top 5, then my full top 5 is there. So like, I don't care. I'm good. Like, I'd rather keep that 6.
It is interesting. I was talking about this with a friend, and I love the idea of Brooklyn just using all 5 of their first round picks and having like the best summer league team of all time. Like it's just, they're just sending out a lineup of like Derek Queen, Walter Clayton, Drake Powell, Asa Newell, and Liam McNeely, and just
hang the banner
buckets. Yeah, going undefeated in the summer league. All right, pick us in.
Brooklyn has to do something, right? They can't take all those guys.
They can take them into training camp, and then they can make trades to like whittle it down before the start of the season. So they can do it.
But let once them ball out in the summer league and build their value.
It's like driving a car off the lot.
Fight to the death in the summer league.
That's right.
Stay on the roster.
As soon as you make the pick, it has less value, you know? And so if they're going to move, like, I don't know, they're one of the more interesting teams just based on tonight and what could happen with them.
Okay, we're just now waiting for this to come.
My Hornets.
I know the pick has been in. I was gonna do an ad read. I want to tell people though, you can find Too Deep merch on the southwestvashop.com. That's right. If you go to the Southwest VA shop, just type in Too Deep in the search bar. The t-shirts will come up, the hoodies will come up, and you can get your very own Too Deep merchandise. We appreciate the Southwest VA shop for supporting the Suns and for supporting this show. Thank you. Kendrick Perkins is saying something insightful, as far as I can tell.
Can we talk about how the ESPN new like studio team that they've got replacing TNT now? And I know TNT's moving over, but like that might have been the worst finals. Like when they went to intermission and you had to listen to this insane scream fest. Like what are they doing? Like how does ESPN think this is a good idea? These people are clowns.
And well, next year they'll have like the real talent, correct? They're not going to be relying on Stephen A.
But then they'll try to put Stephen A with those guys.
Yeah,
and there'll be a huge fight. It'll be great.
Oh, there it is, Rob.
There we go.
Let's go. See, I
Con Knippel to the Hornets.
I felt pretty confident. If I was going to like bet on which player would be drafted here, I would have said Con, because I do think ultimately he's a really good fit, and the ownership has a lot of Duke ties, so they've always been privy to Duke players. I mean, that's why Mark Williams is on the team, that sort of thing.
It feels like a good fit. Like he just slides right in. You got enough guys that all of them move the ball pretty well. All of them like to get shots up, and Con will just figure out exactly what his role is, and he'll play it, whatever. Like I really like him. I'm not sure. Like he plays off of 2 feet, which is like a new thing that everybody says is the right thing to do, to gather, to have strength going up to the basket, to have that agility. But it also makes him look slow and unathletic at times too. So like my brain can't figure out exactly what he's going to end up being in the NBA.
Yeah. I mean, to me, he's a higher floor, lower ceiling kind of guy. And like, that's okay. Like I'm happy with that. It takes a little bit of that creation pressure off of Brandon Miller, and it's someone who can at least attempt to drive to the rim, because LaMelo has just given up on that completely. I mean, for me, I put his best case, I have him as like a slightly taller, like Malcolm Brogdon pre-injuries, like when Brogdon was balling out with the Bucks and, drawing a large trade package from the Celtics. Like he was a really, really good, productive, efficient scorer and a good point guard. Worst case, he's Mike Miller, which, you know what? Mike Miller gets you some buckets. Mike Miller gets you some buckets.
Mike Miller still winning rec games, I think I saw on X the other day. But Con is if this is what they would say on the set of like the ESPN draft for football, is like he's just a ball player. Like he knows how to play the game. He can fit in anywhere, as Mike said. And I really like his like attitude and the way he goes about the game. And he can be a connective player, or I think like we saw in the ACC tournament, he can take over at times and get you a few buckets when you need them. And so that might not come right away, but for the Hornets, this feels like one of their more surefire picks of the past decade plus.
After they took a bonkers
good
swing
feeling
last
pick.
year on Salon. Like, God, that
Still
guy's
like that
terrible,
guy.
unfortunately. And I mean, there weren't that many other good choices on the board. It was a terrible class, but I mean, yeah,
we're getting close now to, and Mike, you weren't on when we mentioned this, but this class is better at the top than last year's for certain. But now we're to the point where it starts to get up to a lot of question marks on almost every guy from here on out. Even Ace, who is still yet to be taken, and Trey yet to be taken. There are questions about their game. Trey maybe with a little bit higher floor, in my opinion, than Ace. But
yeah, there becomes some like little groupings, right? Like you put Fears and Jace and Walter Clayton into like these two small guard groups that could be really good, could be small guards that just don't work out in the NBA. It happens all the time. Then there's like this huge group that you could even throw Ace in of these wings that do something well, whether it's defense or shooting, but none of them put everything together. So it's like some of them pass really well, like Jockey Chunas, like you were saying, or Igor Demon, like there's something you can like with each of them, but they all could go anywhere from 6 to 30. And I'd be like, okay, I guess. And then there's another group of like centers that all are pretty big, but none of them are actually that skilled. Like they take up space. Everybody wants to go to the too big lineup, but I don't know that any of these guys can fit in and play right away. So there's a like these little groups of people that it's really hard to decipher. I'm confident there are going to be some really good players because they are skilled guys, and you'll see some develop that get in the right situations, get drafted by the right team. But me, like not knowing all the information around it, like there's no way just by watching them in clips and YouTube highlights and over the course of a season that I can be certain on any of them that like, yes, I need this guy at number 6. He's going to be the one that makes an all-star team.
And this Utah thing that's about to happen, they have the 5th pick. This is fascinating because if Fears goes here, which is something that Ainge has been talking about, something that Richard hinted at earlier and said, is Ainge just trying to light a fire and get a trade or whatever else? If they take Fears, that will kind of be the first shakeup here because this has been chalk so far, more or less. I know early in the process, Ace was higher on boards, but I think everyone kind of knew as we got closer here that Ace was at least going to drop to 5 or 6. And so this 5th pick is pretty pivotal. We'll see what Utah does here in a second, but I do
Conspiracy?
think. Go ahead. You got
BYU,
something?
man. Do you think they're going to go with Jaeger Demon? Like,
oh wow,
no way.
They did it last year, so like
I do not like Demon. I'm not a Demon guy, and it's funny because Ed on our show when we were talking about Neo Avdalis is that Ed compared him to Igor Demon, and that like if we are looking for a good outcome on Neo, like Igor might be a good comp. I think Neo has a few things that are different, and we'll get into that shortly. But what do you like? Who had him on their big board? Was that you, Mike?
Mike liked
him. I
really
like him. Part of it is it's definitely the passing, the lack of shooting. I don't think his form is broken, so I'm someone who's like, you can rep him to be a serviceable shooter with the form. And I'll admit, like, I listened to a podcast with him on it, and like he sold me, right? Like, so Richard was telling the story earlier of like him hearing the Derek Queen stuff and getting sold. Like I listened to him on a podcast, and he just explained how he goes about his love of basketball and how he pushes himself to try new things all the time. And he knows he's going to look bad at times, but he's learning consistently and always trying to push forward and get better. And that's where I'm like, all right, I'll let you continue to learn. You have size, you have a passing ability that separates you completely from anyone in this draft at that size, especially, that I think you can figure out the shooting with your work ethic. And I think you want to be a great teammate.
What you just said about Igor, and I'm sorry, Richard, give me one sec. every interview that these guys do, this must be like the best interviewing class out there
Yeah.
because every
Other than
guy
Ace,
in
right?
every interview, like it's like, oh my God, this guy just loves the game and he's going to be awesome. Ace
Ace to
Bailey
Utah.
to Utah. Wow.
And just
Trey
trading up.
Johnson, man, Trey Johnson. I hope it's not Fears with Johnson sitting there. Like, I hope it's not Fears next for
I
us.
hope I don't pull up my phone and see Shams saying that we traded our extra pick this
Yeah, we could
draft to
still
move
trade
up
up.
one spot to get
I don't
Ace
know.
Bailey. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't think Ace ends up in Utah.
That doesn't really
They're holding him hostage for anyone
Makes
6 through
sense,
8,
yeah.
basically.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I think Ainge is saying like, all right, here's the prize, 6, 7, 8, come get him.
all right. Well, I guess see, I'm not going to be that upset if we draft Fears at this point, even if it's telegraphed. Like, we apparently did a private workout. The Wizards did a private workout with Ace, like in the last day or 2 days ago, which he wasn't given to anybody. So I don't know how accurate that reporting was, but I just don't want to pay to move that much. Oh, dude, Ace is like, go scroll down on that and go look at his like the chart for the box plus minus below that. Like, it is brutally bad. Like, keep
Box
scrolling.
advance.
See where he is, bottom left there. You do not want to be in the bottom left of that chart.
Yeah, top right.
It's a brutal chart.
Are you updating these picks, Richard? Do I need to do it?
Oh no, I've been drinking this Evan Williams.
That's all good. Richard did make this like little tablet for us to follow along with the draft, so
Last
I
year,
just
but
appreciate it.
It barely works. My AI powered vibe coded app didn't work this year.
Yeah,
I'd love to see Ace like not even put the hat on. Like, I don't want to picture me in a Utah hat. I know I'm getting traded. Just put the 3 Washington, Brooklyn, whoever's 7th, I forgot. Put those 3 hats
Pelicans,
right there.
yeah.
New Orleans, yeah.
Oh, let me go.
It'll be like a college selection recruiting thing, which one he picks up.
Fakes towards one hat, goes to the other,
Yeah, that's right.
throws it down, grabs the
Yeah.
third hat.
I love
Sorry, Pete. That'll update in a second. I'll tell you. I get distracted.
It's all good. I'll remove it and put it back up in a second. All right, so moving to the Wiz. What's the number one want here, fellas? What are we hoping for?
Boy, oh boy. I don't know.
I think it's Trey for me. Like, watching him all season, there's parts of his game I really didn't like, but I think there's such good shooting and skill sets that just translate so well to the NBA. He has more size than I thought he did. And I think if you put him with a better playmaker than they had on Texas and obviously some better coaching, I think he really could be one of the better 2 guards in the league if everything goes right for him. So I would take that upside over Fears, who I really do like and can really get to the basket, but there's just such potential limitations for a small guard that doesn't already shoot the ball at a lights out rate that it scares me a little.
And we all have Trey. I have
we all have
updated,
Trey
by the
there.
way.
I mean,
I have updated
Yeah.
feed so you can refresh and
All
it should work. But we're all at Trey there, so I think we're all in agreement. Let's hope our management doesn't do. Remember when we had the draft where we drafted Airwolf and instead of Kawhi Leonard, and we were like supposed to draft Kawhi, and we're like Kawhi, and we drafted Airwolf.
And then we wasn't it like Seraphin at the next one instead of Klay Thompson or something like that? We had 2 picks.
Yes,
we
it
could have
was
had Kawhi.
a brutal. There's a lot
Too
of
soon to bring
depression
up
in
Johnny
Wizards
Davis.
fandom.
Never.
No,
It's
keep
fine.
bringing it
I
up.
love
Like, the
joke.
pain
We knew
is
that
the
one
point.
on day 2. The original Telegraph.
Yeah.
None of us
Speaking of
like
Telegraph.
Davis either. Like when we do these big boards. We've been doing them for, I don't know, 5 years longer. And we all didn't like Davis, and we're schmucks. Like, and so I can't imagine why a professional basketball team wanted to draft him where they drafted him.
Well,
I
we
imagine
were
we
the
had-
last front office to ever put together a proper
Scouting
team
department.
that scout. Like, it's all eye tests.
Yeah.
All the personality cult of a couple of individuals. Like, that's gone the way that Dodo. Like, we talked about this. Like you said, we've been doing this a long time, and we, one of the things we always talked about was the arbitrage in the NBA had moved towards front offices in the mid 2000s to the mid 2015. But by the time that got burned away, that's been burned away so long that, at this point, it's kind of shocking that they had gone as long as they did. It's the reason we canceled our season tickets, because we could tell they just were not going to get it. The ownership was not going to get it until they were forced. So, they telegraphed it themselves by being as stupid as they were about managing the people who are running the business. Like that should have been addressed a long time before that.
Yeah. And that point that you made right there shouldn't go unnoticed. Richard and Mike were Wizards season ticket holders for a number of years, and that is some real dedication.
Oh yeah.
A lot of pain, a lot of pleasure.
Yeah. My favorite story always to tell is like it goes to the overall ineptitude of the ownership group. Is they at one point for a halftime show they brought in bucket drummers, and it was a bunch of white dudes that they paid to be bucket drummers, and you could feel the entire audience going like, "This ain't right, man! Like, what are we doing here?"
It's so bad.
So you could just tell they don't get it.
Yeah, Pete, do you remember at Tech the bucket drummers that would come sometimes?
Yeah, I
at
do.
halftime. Yeah, they were good. They were, not white.
Yeah,
How do I say
properly
this?
talented.
Correct. Yes.
Yes. They were authentic to the culture of bucket drumming, and the Wiz. I loved going to those games. Well, that was a lot of that time. It was right after John Wall got drafted. You guys had those tickets and kept them for a while, and the nice thing was if you were friends with them, you got to go to a handful of games, and so that was always cool. And living in DC right after they named it, I guess it was the MCI Center, and then it became Capital One and Verizon or whatever.
Verizon and Capital One, yeah.
That was a really fun time to be in Chinatown and be going out and all that kind of stuff.
I miss it. I miss mostly my body being able to drink that much and like get up and go to work the next day. Can you imagine having season tickets at our age and doing what we were doing back then, and then like getting up and just going to work again? Like I would not make it. I don't even know what we were thinking.
Well, there are those people that, like, I have friends that do the NFL season tickets, and I realize that's only 8 home games a year, but they are mostly on Sunday and Monday. And I don't know how they do it, because we're talking full tailgates all day. They definitely drink. Somehow, they got to get home too, and then they got to go to work. So I do have a lot of respect for those people who do season tickets in any sport to make it there after work or on the weekends and then go about your normal life. But just like it is for me and Rob, kind of like loving on the Hokies, and Mike loving on his Kentucky Wildcats in every sport, like it's something we choose, right? We this is what we love.
You make it a priority.
Not stupid.
Oh, I love it.
The pick is in, and it is Trey Johnson.
Nice. I mean, that's just a great play to fall your lap at 6.
Wait. Before we go too far, can we talk about this fit? Double-breasted, well-fitted suit, not over the top. The pants might be over the top.
Is he wearing
regular
navy with the red tie?
Just cutaway collar, regular
It's a
cutaway
classic
collar,
look.
A good tie. I personally wouldn't have gone the way
I
he
just
did,
saw
just
the
gone a four in
pants.
hand, but like,
yeah, I don't know. We're going navy on black with the tie.
This is better than most. This is good decision making. This makes me think that he will adjust.
Did you see the bottom half though, Richard?
I did, and it scared me.
Oh, yeah. That was more Cav than I wanted.
I want top half Trey, not bottom half Trey.
I don't know. We'll take both, man. That's how you get a superstar, man. You gotta have the
Business
confidence
at the top,
to wear.
at the bottom.
That is.
He looks like he's about to get up on an AC/DC show
pants.
and just like wail.
He looks like he's about to deliver newspapers in 1910.
Yeah. No, the AC/DC. He literally looks like that album cover. Get the man some bagpipes.
He does. Looks like Angus from AC/DC.
Yeah, Angus is a good comp.
Best case, Angus.
All right. So did we talk about your Trey Johnson best and worst case?
No, actually, no, because this one's good. This is one of my favorites. Best case, Sonics/Bucks Ray Allen. Worst case, Heat Ray Allen.
So that's pretty good. That's not.
That's
That's
I
not
love
too
that.
I
shabby.
mean,
That's an
ultimately,
incredible floor.
I think he's going to be like a really like top tier 3-point shooter, especially
Yeah.
on spot up opportunities. Like you can take that to the bank. It's ultimately a matter of can he, create and score it off the dribble, the way he did in college. But again, it was a little slower. He's not, he had to get a little more creative with that. He kind of, whenever he could get himself facing the rim, he was fine finishing, but so often he'd get thrown out of the direction. He'd have to shoot some fadeaway. Yeah, worst case, he's just standing in the corner and hitting some threes. So,
Yeah, I mean, watching
Yeah.
Texas this year, like they were so disjointed. It was just a constant, like your turn, my turn, and there were like 4 guys who wanted to turn, and it was just a mess. Like there was no organization, no player movement. So like, could he just be a chucker? Yeah, definitely still possible. But I'm hopeful that with some organization, with a better point guard around him, that he finds his role pretty quickly and could be an all-star level player with his shooting ability.
Have you
Yep.
heard the things about like the system at Texas and his system in high school asked him to do things that he wasn't really the optimizing his game? Because I listened to like some kind of thing on him where if put in a better position, like we haven't even really seen the best of him. And so that's encouraging. And another kid, he's a little skinnier than I thought. Like now seeing him in some of these like reels they got going, he's a little skinny and on tape, maybe a little slow, just a little slow.
No.
Um,
Like his lane agility was like below VJ's. He's doing better on some of the like athletic comps than who you picked on some of
okay.
those things. So
Okay.
like he's got more
Maybe I'm thinking of somebody else
athleticism
then.
than people give him credit for, and he's got more size than people give him credit for. He's got a 6'10 wingspan. Like he has all the tools. The question is, will he put it, mentally, will he decide I'm going to rebound, or I'm going to go out there and put my nose and try to get the ball. And I don't know, to your question, whether like that's a thing that he's put in a position where that doesn't make sense for him, or he's asked to do something that doesn't make sense. But like he's got all the stuff there. It's will he put it together? I just don't know. I hope so. Obviously, I'm elated though. I mean, this is an incredible pick for us. I can't believe he fell to us. So like, this is who I liked if it was going to be in the later part of the like lottery picks, and to get him at 6 is awesome.
I like
would you want
LinkedIn
him?
Sam Jesse here at the bottom saying Trey Johnson was the best shot maker in college basketball last season.
Hell yes, Sam. That's correct.
Let's go. Do you want him running the point, or would you rather have him as a 2 guard?
I like it. So we don't have a pure point anyways, and so we've got Bub Carrington, who's also like a not. He's handling the ball a lot. We've just pushed out Poole, so like the combination of the two of them being able to have a dual side, we'll see how they can set up. Like if they're coming in and they can run a dual side pick and roll threat from either angle, and that's pretty natural to them. I think that'll work really, really well. I don't know that we've got any proof that that'll function, but we kind of have these two double combo guards, and if he can just slide to a natural, mostly shooting guard, and then a little pick and roll just to give him the ball in his hands a little bit more, I think that could work solidly. Do we have the screeners anymore? No, I don't think we do. But we've got an incredible amount of expiring cap space coming this season, so maybe we trade for somebody who could help them out on that, get them the reps they need.
Yeah, the way he can.
Yeah,
go
go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say the way he can hit shots, like especially coming off a screen or a curl, and it's like it's Curry quick the way he gets that shot.
Oh
up.
yeah, lightning.
And I think also the trade y'all just made, bringing in CJ McCollum, talk about a great mentor. I mean, that is exactly who Trey Johnson wants to strive to be and surpass.
Yeah, I love it. And I would say from a Wizards perspective, if you're going to have those 2 guards and you don't have a pure quote unquote point guard, I think we need a third ball handler that's capable, because I don't think just the 2 of them are going to work. And maybe Bilal can work out and learn to get in the lane and handle the ball and make plays better. He's not there yet. Sarr's definitely not that right now. Like, I don't know who it's going to be, but you're going to need at some point a 3 or a 4 or a 5 that's like a great decision maker from the top of the key. You're going to need somebody to play that third playmaking, ball handling, attacking the rim role.
Yeah, we don't have it.
wanna-
Like
I'm gonna-
Kishan can play. Everybody can theoretically do the thing you're saying as that third person, but none of them are good enough, and none of them have the reps, and none of them have the natural like IQ that isn't going to take just
Ooh.
constant repetition to get there. So we either have to keep that's in a future draft, or we got to trade for that, or that's 4 years away. Oh, here we
Jeremiah
go. There's Fears.
goes to the Pelicans at number 7. And he's got a hell of a chain on.
Yeah.
I like
Yes,
the
he
suit
does.
and I like the chain, the checkered suit there.
Can someone explain the Fears hype to me?
I-
I have him 13.
I'll try because I'm probably higher on him than anybody. Watching him this year, especially even against Kentucky, and we've had a pretty good defensive team, like we could not stop him from getting in the lane. He has an ability to get low, change directions quickly, get on top of you really fast, and was a surprisingly decent finisher when he got in there for his size too. So like I could see him being a guy that finds his way into the lane with better teammates around him, becomes a better passer, driving and kicking, that can get to the free throw line hopefully 6, 7, 8 times a game. Again, I think he's got decent form on his shot, so he didn't shoot it well. But again, he doesn't have great teammates around him. He's taking bad shots that he's forced to take. So if I'm playing the upside, I'm saying, okay, we get him in a better situation where he's taking smarter shots. He's getting in the lane. He's kicking to better players. Like I can see him really being a good player. But again, it's the history of 6 foot, even 6'1", 6'2" guards in the NBA isn't great no matter what. And you got to basically be a Trae Young level shooter, scorer to have any chance, or a Chris Paul level passer, decision maker to have a chance.
Trae Young was one of my worst evals in our draft things. I just didn't like him. I thought he was too small. I thought his shooting went way downhill.
Wait, you think you're wrong? You weren't wrong. Trae Young is terrible. He
became an all-star. Like he did bet. Well, he's still someone that from name recognition and from like what people consider a star in mass, I think Trae Young was.
He probably got closer to his ceiling than you thought he'd get.
Much closer.
But your flaws with him were not wrong.
No, he's an all-star in the losing your hair early all-stars, which, as a person who suffers from this, I understand that quite well. But like, the knock on him is he's like, there's a book out there years ago that went into the win shares. It was like a yay points hypothesis of like how you are rewarded for scoring a lot. And he doesn't help you win. So what's the point? Just because he scored? Yeah, you get rewarded for scoring. You get all-star games for scoring. You can win a little for scoring, but you're never going to get to where you need to get if you surround your team with a guy like that. I don't think you were wrong.
As Mike put it, so elite if you are a small guard in order to live up to a top 10 pick, a top 5 pick or higher. And I was down on Colin Sexton. I was down on Trae Young. And it's funny because in my top 10, I do have a couple shorter guards. I don't have Fears because I wasn't a Fierce guy. Let me add Grant to the screen to help us to get in here. Grant Mitchell from what should I say? The Hostile Environment podcast, among many other things that you do. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you. Can I just, I know I just got here, but I just need 15 seconds to say this. The hype around Jeremiah Fears, his jersey is going to say 0 fears. So that's where the hype comes from.
Wow.
Trae Young is 25-10 for a career. He made it to the conference finals. Because his front office stinks does not mean that he stinks.
Okay.
He stinks.
I was of the opinion that I was wrong on him because he became good. And if you're talking about him or Luka, yeah, that was a mistake.
Yeah.
But I think that he achieved higher than I expected of him because I think I had him at like 15 or 17 in my big board back in the day. But
as
your
a 90s
thought,
kid, I'll say if Jeremiah Fears brings back no fear t-shirts, then like it's a win in my book.
He's bringing it back with the chain right now.
Yeah.
All right, I got a question from Sam that I'm going to let us discuss here. More likely rookie of the year, Flag or any of the other top 5 picks? And I guess we can expand that to any pick that's been taken thus far.
Flag. You don't take the field over Flag. Yeah.
So I don't know if there's any truth to this. This is just a Twitter report. I saw that the Spurs, rightfully so, understand that they have a bit of a logjam at guard. I mean, you've got De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper, and Chris Paul's probably on his way out, but he was there. And allegedly, according to the Twitter report, they might look to trade one of their guards. I would honestly think De'Aaron Fox would be the first one up, even though they just got him. If Dylan Harper gets enough playing time, I can just see Flag's playing time being a little limited just because they do have PJ Washington and Anthony Davis and Caleb Martin and Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Like there's so many people at his position that it's going to be hard to get him 35 minutes a night.
Yeah. I just think his game plugs into the NBA immediately. And I think that's what, like, ultimately at the end of the day, and he's so versatile too, like, put him at the 3 and like have Davis and Washington out there with him. You know what I mean? Like, I think they know what they have. But if he, to your point though, if he is struggling with like on-ball defense on the wing and that sort of thing, then like, yeah, okay, maybe he needs to chill in the post for his first year. But I mean, I don't know. I just think Flag, I don't think he's like, you know, future top 5 player in the league type good, but I just think he's so good, man. My best case for him, I have Scottie Pippen. And I think that just requires him to really kind of bulk up a little more and shore up his defense. And then even at his worst case, I have Sean Marion. And like Sean Marion was still an awesome player, you know, like multiple time All-Star. So, I mean, yeah.
You're talking about, who are you talking about right now?
Flag.
Okay, because at first we started that segment with the Spurs, and then we went to Flag, and I was.
Well, the interesting about the Spurs, like if you think about that, is there's a looming contract extension for De'Aaron Fox, which he was rumored to have like pre-negotiated before getting traded over there. So like they haven't picked it up, and if they haven't picked that up, as far as I'm aware, like they can still trade it. But the moment they sign that extension, they can't trade him like until after a certain date. So their hands are tied. It'll be interesting to watch this summer if that fluctuates at all, because it will kind of show their hand a little on what their intentions are.
I looked it up a second ago. Can anybody guess when the last white rookie of the year was?
1977.
I read 66 for Rick Barry. It's been almost 60 years.
Wow.
So, that's insane.
And that's just because Bird came in with Magic. Is that why?
Are you telling me that Michael Carter Williams doesn't count?
I don't want any
Blake
part
Griffin.
Of this.
Look at my boy.
Igor at number 8 to Brooklyn.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Okay.
Dude,
now it's getting fun.
My top 10. Like I think I'm only one off the whole thing.
They must listen to the same podcast you did, Michael.
So I don't understand it, honestly. Like, I mean, I didn't listen to the podcast Mike's talking about, but when I watched Igor and I look at the stats, I know the age is young, and so that's good. But that might be his best attribute, is that he's still young and can get better, because I didn't think he was very good. And I'm not sure what's his elite skill.
I
mean,
think
he's a 6'8"
if you
guard,
had watched
like,
him in
good.
Europe. Sorry, go ahead. My bad, Grant.
I was just gonna say he's a 6'8" guard. Like that's certainly appealing.
I think it's the old if he had just stayed in Europe and he was a mystery man and you saw the highlight tape, you'd probably have him 5 spots higher. But you got to see him against real competition, and he didn't look quite as good. But the skill sets are still there, and he learned a ton, and he's trying things. He's getting better. He's got the right attitude. He's studying people like Denny Avdia. He's not trying to be some crazy version of himself that he's not. Like, he's studying the right people. He wants to be the right type of player. And again, I don't think the shot's broken. So I think he can get to a place where you have to at least respect his 3-point shot. And when that happens, he can get anywhere he wants on the floor. He can make any pass. Like, I want that type of playmaking. That's like, we just talked about the Wizards. They need a third playmaker. Like, he would be perfect as a third playmaker on a team.
Okay.
So I'm also an Igor guy here. And
Nice.
BYU, if you watch them play, they played at this very frenetic pace. And there was a noticeable difference when he was on the court versus when he was off of it, because as fast as they played, they looked so comfortable with him on the court despite playing at that speed. It was almost like the difference between when Halliburton's on the court and then when the reserves come in. Like, yeah, the reserves still do their thing, but a lot of it's honestly TJ McConnell ball hogging, Obi top and chucking threes. When Halliburton was out there, there was a sense of calmness, even though they were playing at this crazy pace. Do I think Igor is ever going to be a high-level NBA scorer? No, but he looked very comfortable taking off the dribble threes, didn't make a lot of them, but as long as he's willing to do that, and if he can get to like 33, 34% and be able to run the offense efficiently and also get to the lane at 6'8", there's a real plus starter in there somewhere.
Grant, how do you feel about the Neo Abdallas comp to Igor?
Do
you think
I don't know, to be honest. I think Igor's got this crazy range of possible outcomes, and it just kind of depends on which lens you're looking at it through.
I think they're like Ed is the one that was responsible for that. And I actually do think it does have some legs. Now I want Neo to come in and work on the things that he lacks, because he has shot questions. He has a variety of things that we probably get into in a few minutes here. And I think Ed may be joining us, but the Igor thing, like, I feel like none of what he did was super good, but there is a certain roundedness to his game, and the highlight package they just showed was phenomenal. I mean, he looked amazing, but I don't know, man. I'm surprised that he went at 8, because I don't think, consensus wise, I don't think that was anywhere close to what people were expecting. Now, Mike Drake expected it, but
no, and that's what we talked about a little bit ago, though, right? There's this group of wings that it's the beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Like, there's skill sets that each of them have that you can decide is the most important thing for your team. So if he went at 8, I'm not surprised. But if somebody, maybe they were the only team that would have drafted him there, and he would have fallen all the way to 18 if they didn't pick him here.
Yeah, and I liked Casper better than him, obviously, because Igor's probably 10 spots lower on my list, and not so different in the ways that they play on the court in terms of like what would their role be, distributing, scoring a little bit here and there. Maybe both could work on the shot. I just felt like the way Casper moves, the way he kind of, I don't know, got to the bucket, got the up and unders. I just felt like he was a more connective player than Igor. Maybe that will prove to be wrong, but it's interesting because you're right, Mike. It's all in the way any of us see these. Did we see a certain stat? Did we listen to a certain podcast? Did we see this film versus this film and it make us think a certain thing?
I also
my next one on the board, I will not be the next one off, though. He's just a guy I wanted to put in my top 10 that I really like, that I don't think anybody else has, even in the top 15. So
I also think the league is going in a very defensive sort of direction right now. So, like, if you look around the league and you're looking at primary ball handlers, Mike Conley is not better than Darius Garland, but in a moment of panic in the playoffs, Conley's going to be able to get your offense to where it needs to be. Jalen Suggs is probably a better player than Igor Demin, but he's not controlling your offense in the playoffs. So this all is contingent on Igor actually being able to shoot 33% from 3, whatever the number is, so that you don't just completely ignore him, give him the Ben Simmons treatment. But if he does get there, although he might not be better, he might be better for a team, depending on what the team is.
And I think it's the height thing too. And I think this is what is happening with Essengay as he's moved up some of the boards, is that they're like, oh, Essengay's 6'10", 6'11". All right, let's move him up, even though he's kind of a foul baiter and super gangly and all this stuff. But it's like, oh, Igor 6'8", let's move him up. I just, there's so many guys from here on out in this first round that didn't shoot. And if a guy didn't shoot and they're young, I guess that is better than some of the other options. And he is young.
Yeah, I think I saw there wasn't a player under 6'5" in the entire Final Four of the NBA except for Mike Conley. He was the only one.
Wow.
That played serious minutes.
Yeah, small guards, man. It's
your Colin Murray Boyles calling card then, right? Like, if you want defense and you
I
want
do
a
like
sure
Colin
thing,
Murray Boyles. Who has him? Is that you?
those
or is
are the
that Mike?
guys that,
Oh,
well,
that's you,
that's why I
Richard.
had him as high as I did. It's like he's a sure thing, like a sure thing on the defensive side.
Yes.
And the question is he going to be able to do anything else? I don't know. But if you're drafting for skill at this point, and you're looking for defense, those are the guys that are going to get you there. So we'll see
The
what happens.
switchability with Murray Boyles is what you're referring to on defense, is he can switch.
Well, he can switch. He's big and he's got a lot of steals. He's got quick hands. He knows how to get into things. Like he's just, like you saw Casey Wallace in the finals, right? Like I wouldn't have guessed that, quite honestly, coming out of Kentucky. But like those kinds of skill sets where you can just like jump into a thing early in your career are valuable to teams that are looking for that, and you can find a role even if the rest of your game isn't there.
Speak of the devil, Richard.
Oh, I'm behind. Is that who just got picked?
Colin Murray Boyles goes to the Raptors at number 9.
There you go.
Irby, can I steal your job and offer what I think the worst case is here?
Yeah.
Precious Achua.
Oh,
love Precious.
Great player.
We have Scotty Barnes at home. Like what what are we doing here?
Yeah, that's a little curious with the talent they have already.
Yeah, no, that's okay. I mean, yeah,
I do like this guy.
I have him at 14, and again, he's in that tier player for me with fears where it's like I can see it working out. I'm not gonna give him like all-star upside, but I mean,
no,
it can work out. I mean, think so. Pete, you'll like this one. My worst case for him was pre-Olympics Gershon Yabusele, and his best case is post-Olympics Gershon Yabusele.
I like that.
That is brutally mean.
Draymond
I love
Verde.
Gershon. This guy needs to work on his ass if that's going to be his comp.
Yeah, that guy's got a big dump like that. It'll move people out of the way. He ain't got
that's
that.
pretty good, man. I like that one. Yeah, Colin Murray Boyles definitely. He was moving up my list. He didn't make my top 10, but he is close. In fact, Richard, I was trying to find.
He's like reverse fears to me. Like they both have an elite skill, and you just have no idea if the rest of their game will ever come around.
Yep.
And that's why, to me, they were clustered somewhere close. Is that like when you're looking for elite skill guys, you got to kind of figure out what do you care about, what's going on in the league. I think to what Grant was saying earlier, like defense is mattering a lot to folks. And we're now at the point, you've been talking about this repeatedly, Pete, of just like chaos. And at this point, you just have no idea. It's like from here all the way to like 20. There's no clue. Everybody's got a little bit of something. Who's got something elite? Who's got something that definitely is good? And then trying to just figure out from there, what matches. Oh, I need to update my draft board. Thanks for reminding me.
I feel like he's like the reverse Michael Beasley. Like his same body type, looks the exact same, except one is all defense and one is all offense.
That's funny.
Did you see those videos of Michael Beasley just like beating up on people in like tournaments?
He's in the big. Well, he did Lance Stevenson. They did the one-on-one thing, right? And then he was in the Big 3 game on Lance's team, I believe. So he's out there. He's still playing.
I would just like to say Stephen A. Smith has officially declared Jeremiah Fears is the second coming of Kyrie Irving.
Wow.
All right.
Oh, what a curse.
Yeah, I would not. I'd throw that one back.
Yeah, Kyrie Irving could shoot.
I know you're not supposed to draft off of fit, right? But I'm not convinced Colin Murray Boyles, was the best player available, and this fit is awful.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, the fit is bad for sure. And we are at the stage now, Grant, where you can draft for fit. Like in this draft, especially, I feel like with how varied the boards are, you'd almost be silly not to draft for fit once you get to the 10th pick and beyond.
Yeah, I mean, I was just looking at the Brooklyn Nets depth chart just to like actually see it in front of me. And Igor's actually a great fit there. Even if you don't love the player, it makes sense with what they've got going on that team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't have Cam Thomas be your only real initiator. So
no, I mean, you got lobs to Nick Claxton. If they keep Cam Johnson, I've been wanting them to trade him for a while because they would get a great haul. But if you keep him, Igor's gonna be able to find him, off the ball, curling off a screen, whatever. Terrence Mann, Igor and Terrence Mann wouldn't exactly space the floor very great, but I could see them working together, at least on defense. So, yeah, I don't hate the fit.
Well, we have our first pick where it's the wrong team is on the graphic on ESPN because Houston traded the pick.
It's not
This
finalized.
guy's gonna have to wear a Rockets hat.
I know, it's so dumb.
The NFL this is something of the many things that they get right. Is this never happens?
Yeah.
So the coolest I've seen, and I'm mad that they stopped doing it. The NHL 2 years ago on their draft, they did it in the sphere. And when they'd have a trade, they'd have like trade alert come up on the sphere, and then they'd announce the team they traded them to. Like, it was much more engaging and visual. Like, it was really cool to see a draft in there.
And you could do a hat. I mean, it's not that many combinations of like 30 times 30 to like build these like split hats with like a graphic when a trade happens. It's like a collector's item that'd be legit. Like
that's
actually a merch vertical that I'm shocked nobody's ever thought of to produce that before the
then
draft.
You get like those remember those MLB hats that ended up with all kinds of like vulgar Spanish sayings this past summer because they tried to mix up stuff without thinking.
No me jodas.
A guy we haven't talked much about is Common Malich from Duke, who some of the drafts had him going 6, 7, 8. I should say mock drafts, big boards, whatever. But I've kind of moved him a little bit lower because maybe he can only defend one position, kind of just a rim runner type. But there is some upside there. And I think on Jay Billis's best available, he keeps coming up. Grant, what are your thoughts on Malik? Or is it Malich or Malik? I don't know how to say it.
Malawach.
Yeah.
I'm getting it wrong all the ways around.
So Irby will remember this, I'm sure, because it's his team. I was a huge Mark Williams guy coming out of college. I said he would be a defensive player of the year candidate if he got the minutes after the injury. Don't really think that's ever going to happen, but he did show flashes of that. I don't see that with Malawach. I think he can be a very good interior defender. I also think that he could be a very limited player. He's not someone who it was apparent he would translate to the NBA. Certainly the prototype, the archetype is there with his measurables and some of the skills and instincts that he's shown, but it's not a guarantee.
Yeah, I'll do the Kentucky thing again and be biased to one game, right? Like when we played them first game of the season, basically, they were a different team. When he went out, he had like a minor injury. I don't think we win that game with the way he was shutting us down. Now, having said that, we were probably one of the least athletic teams in college basketball, and this is going to be a very different level of athleticism in the NBA. So at his size, can he keep up with the speed and agility? I don't know. But defensively, like, he was intimidating in that game and made a real difference.
There he goes.
Well, I hate to interrupt.
He is the number 10 pick to the Rockets/Suns.
Well, that's interesting because they also just, according to Shams, just acquired Mark Williams from the Hornets.
What?
Grant, literally, as you said the name Mark Williams, the Shams notification pulled up on my phone.
For Phoenix or Houston?
Phoenix is getting the 29th pick and a 29 first from Charlotte. The other way around.
Yeah. So
are you getting Malawach?
Who's getting Malawach?
So Phoenix is getting Malawach.
Suns are getting
and Mark Williams.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my God.
What?
Yes.
All right.
They're going for the Ralph Sampson.
Is that trade
Hakeem Olajuwon?
That's the question. Like, will it be allowed?
Yeah. I mean, and I know Jeff Peterson and everyone involved with Charlotte was like, when Phoenix is like, hey, would you like one of our first round picks? They were like, yes, thank you. I will give you anything for one of those picks. I mean, it's the worst run organization in the NBA right now.
Yeah, they're the new Kings.
And
so right now, Phoenix's starting lineup is Devin Booker, Jalen Green, Bradley Beal, Dylan Brooks, Mark Williams. On the bench, it's Tyus Jones, Cody Martin, Grayson Allen, Ryan Dunn, and Common Malawach.
That's just weird.
It could be worse.
It's not a horrible team, but I think it's got a very limited upside. And
It's
one of
got
those
bad
teams that,
energy.
like, you're looking at this team where it's like you might be 500 for 2 years, and then you're gonna have the most valuable pick in the draft.
Oh, dude, Common is balling.
Yeah. Also, sorry if y'all heard a crash just now. My dog knocked my charger off the desk, so that was.
Did not hear it, but
No.
would like to hear more about those stories.
Oh, look, it's literally the air up there. I've heard that referenced a couple times. I love that movie. One of my favorite movies as a kid.
Very underrated.
And they just showed a picture of him playing on some.
Well, it's
African
shocking
ring.
that Toronto didn't take him one pick earlier because he's the crown jewel of like the NBA Africa like
Mhm.
pipeline, and famously Messiah's had a link to that. And we talked about how weird their pick is from a fit perspective. And Colin Murray Boyle's obviously elite defense, but you know Michael said this too. Malawach is also elite defense, but he's got a different set of upsides in that. Yeah, he shoots 77%. Maybe the shot is theoretical, but it's strange to think that that didn't pop in at all. I don't know. We'll see, but
I'm scrolling this up. Sorry.
Who knows? Maybe there's a trade out there or something still.
you could
that
probably
maybe he's
refresh
going
that
to
feed
9
too.
and
Yeah.
Toronto traded back to let them get Murray Boyles. Like who knows? But I doubt it.
If you guys have ever done a slow draft for like a fantasy football or something, this is like they put in 2 bids, one on Mark Williams, one on Malawach, not knowing which one they were going to get when time
They
ran
got
out,
both.
and they got both.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, so
That is
Sham said
bizarre,
that-
man.
So now I suddenly like this trade a lot less. Sham said that the 2029 first rounder is least favorable of Cleveland, Utah, and Minnesota, 1 through 5 protected. Unfortunately, those are 3 organizations that are probably all going to be pretty good in 2029. So
It's 4 years. You never know. But
I mean, that's a long
if it's the
time
least
away.
favorable, one of them's going to be decent.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's the issue. Yeah, for sure.
but you get a 1 for Mark Williams. Is that?
I
Yeah,
liked Mark Williams. I don't know.
And it's pick 29.
After the like rejected.
I mean, his trade value, it was
trade.
kind of an untenable situation. I mean, like if he
Yeah.
fails a physical, that tanks his value. And
Yeah.
again, he probably doesn't want to play for you anymore. So I think
Yeah, like we got a second round and an expiring contract for Jordan Poole. So like yeah, you're doing better than we are. So
Yeah.
I can't
we'll see who's there.
wouldn't-
29.
So one of my guys,
Walter
let's
Clayton,
go back.
perhaps that'd be awesome.
Do you guys like Walter Clayton, by the way? I know
Love
we're
him.
still talking
He's
about.
a 12, I think, for me.
Oh wow, that is
He's been
high.
flirting with
He's
Miami.
at 15.
Okay. Yeah, he does seem like a Miami guy. That actually makes a lot of sense. But in my top 10 who have not been taken, we've got Derek Queen, we've got Casper, we've got Jace Richardson, which I have higher than just about anybody else out there, but he has been moving up a couple boards I've seen. And then Thomas Sorber, I loved his tape, man. And I think with how raw he was, like I kind of associated him with Colin Murray Boyles a little bit. I know Boyles is a better defender and maybe projects slightly better on some people's boards, but Sorber to me moves so well and has a ton of upside. I really like him. That's why I have him at my 10 spot. And now we are definitely to the point now where all bets are off. Any of these guys could get taken next. Any of them could drop 10 more spots, but Derek Queen should be coming off the board here soon, I would imagine.
Won't be this pick.
We just got a Shams bomb.
Sean's
The
bomb.
Portland Trailblazers are drafting Cedric Coward here, and they are trading
Yes.
him to the Grizzlies.
Oh,
All right.
Dude, my draft board is going great, Pete. That was the top of my best available.
yeah.
Honestly-
Coward is, I like that kid.
I mean,
lot.
Coward's a pretty good Desmond Bain semi replacement as well. Like just that dead eye corner shooter.
So I'm less
love
of a
that.
fan. I'll say this is probably again watching highlight tapes more than really knowing and scouting the prospect fully. But I watched a couple of highlights where he couldn't even get his steps together on a drive to the rim. Like he looks so uncoordinated. I just stopped. I'm like, I'm out. Like it wasn't there for me. So he's got all the other like length, size, shooting's not bad. Like there's lots of stuff to like there, but he seemed uncoordinated on literally like 2 or 3 highlights to me, and I quit.
No, that's fair.
I love that.
It's
It's
probably not
the-
fair.
It's the efficiency. The efficiency, I think, because like for his career, and granted, I mean, the question is competition level, but I mean,
Yeah.
for his career, he was almost 60% from the floor and 39% from three. Which
His
is
numbers at the lower level were preposterous.
and he has a 7'2" wingspan.
Yeah,
At
no,
guard.
and he seems like a good kid on top of it.
If he's going to be
But-
Desmond Bain, like Desmond Bain is underrated in that he actually gets to the rim very well, and he can play make when John Morant or whoever his point guard is now is not on the floor. That's the difference there.
Yeah. I mean, Coward will always play. I mean, you know, he kind of could have that. It's like a lesser version of Trey Johnson, where ultimately, like, worst comes to worst, he's just a really good spot up shooter. And, you know, that's still a rotational player. I think the best case for him has Trey Murphy. And I think that like that career arc is honestly pretty similar because Murphy came in with insanely efficient numbers. Like his 1 year at UVA, he was a 50, 40, 90 guy. But because Tony Bennett does not know how to coach offense, he was fourth on the team in field goal attempts behind Kihei Clark. And anyway, so the sample size was small, but the efficiency was there. And you know, and Trey Murphy's obviously parlayed that into a great career so far. So hopefully, I think Coward can do the same thing.
So this is the third guy they're going to pair with Triple J and John Morant to see if they can kind of rebuild in Memphis. I like it. Part of it in me is just like you had Desmond Bain, but I guess that wasn't getting it done. I don't know. The whole Bain deal, it makes sense for Orlando. I think they might have overpaid a little bit, but of course it makes sense for them. If you're Memphis, it's a little odd to me.
It's a lot of picks. I think that's ultimately it was just an offer they can't refuse kind of thing.
Yeah,
they got a lot for a role player, a good
for a
role
non
player,
all-star. Yes, as
for
been
sure.
said many times, is a non all-star.
Yeah.
Do you think that they're preparing for a post-job future in like the next year though? Like that's the question
Yeah.
that like I have in my head when I see that trade. That's a trade that's like, yeah, there's defensible stuff. You can put this stuff together, but like realistically, it seems like whatever information they have, and obviously they know more than most of us about the Ja situation, like they're starting to think, take what you can. If you get 4 for Bain, you take it, and then you take, I could see Ja gone by December because you don't want a failed trade attempt. You don't want people to know. You want to seem like you're being opportunistic, selling high. So, like to me, I don't think they're doing anything. I assume that they're taking best player available here, and they're about to like reboot hard because nothing makes sense otherwise.
That would make more sense than trading away like the third of your 3 like big name guys, even if the offer is really really good.
I mean, Bain is so good. It just doesn't like none of this tracks unless you're like it's over with Ja and we need to move on.
The interesting thing with Ja and also LaMelo is they're on teams that don't seem committed to them long term. They're still young players, all NBA caliber players, yet their team probably doesn't want them. And there's also probably not really a team out there they fit great on that would be able or have a want to go get them.
Switch them.
Yeah, I was going to say, are we proposing a switch here? Would you take that switch? Like,
I think Charlotte would have to give a touch more back, but still, I'd do that.
But the health concerns and the character concerns with Ja, I think it's
LaMelo.
I mean, LaMelo's got health concerns and character concerns.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
LaMelo, I don't think's ever played a full season.
Send LaMelo to Atlanta, trade to Memphis, and Ja to Charlotte.
I was just thinking the same thing.
That's awesome. What do we do with Zion? Just leave him?
Yeah. Okay. Well, Zion's like a sad case, right? Because I think anyone who follows the NBA closely, like the 5 of us do, what's his future actually going to be? Like
porn.
What was that link you had sent me? Is this now the time for Cumshot Con?
Connie Cumshot? Yeah, I don't know, man. Zion is just, he's never going to be healthy enough to play Like, and this is something that is Embiid related too. If you are never in good shape, ever, you are going to perpetually be hurt. And that is just so true across the league. And with two of these big stars in Embiid and Zion, it is very, very true. Now, Embiid, at the very least, looked like he might never play in the league and became an MVP. Zion is just a fat slob who can't get his shit together. And so it's a shame. And at the time, I almost like I would not have taken Ja over Zion, but it seemed like the body was always a concern with Zion, always. And now Ja turns out to have his own concerns. So
I was a Ja over Zion guy.
okay. I respect that. And I appreciate you going out on a limb for something like that, because it looks like it's still at this point, it's true. Like that's what you should have done.
Yeah. Actually, well, I think who's made more All-Star teams? Is it 2 each?
I don't know, but who's made the playoffs? Who's
Ja's had the better career, no doubt.
Yeah, and when Ja plays, his team like wins and is very, very competitive.
Yeah. Chris Vernon will remind you every time, right? Like they're basically a 50 to 55 win team pace every time. Formerly the three of them were together. So
I loved Verno's reaction to the Bane trade. That podcast with those guys was so good.
That was really good.
Yes.
Yeah. Going back to Zion, he is actually, for my Derek Queen worst case, is who Mariah Mills wants Zion Williamson to be. And then Derek Queen's best case is Alperen Şengün with Kyle Lowry's ass.
Oh my God, these are getting better.
Şengün, man, that would be nice. If
I just think the way
Queen
he can pass and facilitate, it's kind of that like Jokic style, not Jokic obviously, but that Jokic style of a passing big,
I agree with
facilitate
that,
an offense.
When I first saw the Queen stuff, and I listened to a pro Queen spiel on some show I was listening to, and I was like, I really like this guy. And then you watch him play, especially certain games. It's like, damn, this guy, is he Jokic? Is he Draymond's not a good comp, but like just someone that you put him on the floor and you're not exactly sure what he's great at, but he is making your team so much better. And I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been taken yet, because I think you could have.
Fall to 18.
Are the Wiz up again at 18?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have much mapped out beyond the lotto, but Sixers.
So I'm not a Derek Queen guy. I made a very inappropriate joke to Irby about it earlier, which I'm going to rephrase. I will say that he is a fat Marvin Bagley with the defensive abilities of Antonio Brown's publicist.
Oh God.
Fat Marvin Bagley that's really
brutal.
bad. That's really bad.
Well, is he
Al
Jefferson?
Jefferson?
Do we still have Bagley?
Al Jefferson. It's fine.
Bagley, it's
Bagley still on my team. That's hilarious.
I have no idea.
Essengay goes to Chicago.
I mean, Queen's best moment was a travel. So
I liked Bagley, so I guess it makes sense that I like Queen. What are your thoughts on this guy, Essengay, Grant?
I'll be honest, I don't know a ton about him. I know that he left his team after game 3 of the finals to go to the draft, which is kind of wild.
Yeah.
I'm good on French forwards. I'm good. Just no more.
I don't like it. I
You're
don't
good?
like his body. I don't like his body.
I'm good.
You don't like you like him a little thicker?
I'm more of a THICC guy. And I don't know. There's just the foul baiting thing, and I know I root for a team that has Embiid on it, but we just watched Shea in the finals. This guy gets to the line, and that's great. But there's a lot of like soccer player in it.
Y'all look at this pick.
It's a Obi. I would say, speaking of the finals, it's like an Obi Toppin body, right? Like he's got some challenges. He has very different skill sets between these two, but like that's the kind of guy where, yeah, sometimes it's high, but it never really works out for like leading a team to something.
No, I just think he's gonna bust out. But the Obi Toppin thing isn't terrible, except for Obi. Like he was a little broader, and obviously has put on muscle and has become a very good role player. But if that's what you want out of Essengay, maybe he'll get there. I don't know, man. I don't really see it with this kid.
Obi's also a 40% 3-point shooter. Let's not forget that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's what. Yeah, they're not on the same. But this guy also was started smaller, so he grew like 2 or 3 inches. Noah grew like I think 2 or 3 inches this year, so he's still growing theoretically. So we don't know where the end is. You can see it. It's a lot of theoretical shit. Like I don't know that. Like I don't think anybody's here is a defender. So like we're all just a pass.
No one's really on board with this kid.
But I just went back and looked. I don't even have him in my top 30. I was like, I really don't think I like this guy.
Oh my god! All right, sweet.
Like I really don't.
I'm gonna stick around to see y'all's reaction to this next pick, and then I need to hop off. But
okay,
I saw your face. I was like, oh.
yeah, I got the Shams tweet.
Oh wait,
I'm looking at it.
There's a trade.
It's a trade, so this is getting sent to New Orleans.
The Pelicans. All right. And then I have a question regarding some of the bigs left on the board.
Oh, this is exciting. I see.
I have not been on my. I have not been on my phone.
Yeah, I mean it's Derek Queen. That's the part.
There you go. Derek Queen and Zion together.
That's unbelievable.
It's lunchtime.
Whole city's going to run out of gumbo.
They're going to get so many punches on their
That is the worst possible city to be fat.
That city.
Like, or the best possible city to be fat in, I guess. But
yeah, going to rename Bourbon Street to Kahlua Street.
Oh man.
This is an DeJounte Murray, Jordan Poole, Trey Murphy, Zion, and Derek Queen.
Yeah, I think Herb Jones and Trey Murphy are like, get me out of here.
Yeah, who is their GM now?
It's the Cavs guy.
Griffin.
No, they just fired him.
It's still
They
Griffin.
just fired Griffin. No, Griffin.
Oh,
yeah, I thought they fired Griffin.
Yeah, I don't know who they hired, but he's gone.
Oh my
Iguodala.
It's Bryson Graham.
Decision making.
Well, that guy.
All right, so I just noticed a name on the screen, Carter Bryant. This is someone who had been in a lot of top 10s as one of the better wings in this draft. I didn't really like his game. I just thought he was a little stiff, he didn't do quite enough for me. And he is dropping now. But at this point, where do you guys have Carter Bryant on your board, Mike and Richard?
You go look. It's probably somewhere in the next couple of.
Yeah, that's not too far.
I felt like
You're
at some
betting on
point
promise.
I needed to have him up there just because there wasn't a lot of like 3-and-D options out there.
I think I had him at 11 because just like I've talked about over and over, right? Like there's things to like about each of them. And for me, the shooting was solid enough and his body type wasn't as like rail thin as a lot of the other longer kind of three-ish wing players. And so I was like, all right, if the shooting can develop and he's strong enough, he definitely rebounded well at Arizona. I think he can become a decent defender. Like I stacked him towards the top of that group of wings because of those things, but I really don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, this goes back to our discussion around Baylor players, whether they disappoint, but Arizona players seem to squander like their talent, and they actually tend to outplay their behavior in college. So like in some ways, Arizona is also similar, and sorry, Michael, like let's be honest, to like Calipari Kentucky players. They are bad because the coaching's bad. They put them in bad positions, and then they get into the NBA and they typically outplay who they were. So I didn't want to put them anywhere near like a top 10, but once you're out of a top 10, to me, these are the guys that typically pop. Sometimes it doesn't work, sometimes it does.
Do you think
But,
the
like,
school thing actually is real though?
Yeah, well,
coaching
and that's
matters. Yeah.
yeah, and Arizona is like basically since UCLA squandered it, they're the #1 West Coast school. So like they get all of the best West Coast talent that doesn't end up at like Gonzaga or I guess stay home at UCLA, but they have the most talent on the West Coast.
Yeah, and when you can get talent, you don't have to be as competent. Like, we won a national championship with an idiot running the program, but he was a savant
Idiot
in
is
drafting
strong,
and
yeah.
like getting people to come there. And I loved that. It was enjoyable. The NBA was enjoyable, but his X's and O's were terrible. His number 2 that he had forever were terrible. Like, that Arizona is similar in that way. They have a wealth of talent coming in. Maybe they had also a wealth of money that they flowed illegally, but now legally through that program. But they typically had not been pushing for elite coaching. They were pushing for elite talent pipeline. And I don't know if that's true right now. Obviously the NCAA is a little different, but that would be how I would view this particular pick.
Going back to what you said about Arizona players, Baylor players, there are certain trends for sure. And I know Duke has had a lot of success in the NBA, and Kentucky put so many guys in the lottery that by default, you're going to have hits, you're going to have misses, whatever. I just think it's random. Like, Ohio State quarterbacks forever got this thing. And then all of a sudden, CJ Stroud was really good. And so I think it's more random than anything else by associating with a school. Now, if you're talking about a school with specific style like Tony Bennett, even he has had some pros despite, playing something very specifically defensive and not offensive. So I do think it's a little bit more random than just based on school, but you're not wrong in that a lot of Arizona players have not lived up to it, unless you're talking about TJ McConnell, who was a transfer, but he did play for Arizona in his last couple of years.
But they have had some good, like they've had the Gilbert Arenases who ended up a second-round pick. They've had Richard Jefferson. They had
because it goes back so long.
Yeah,
Mathurin right now.
Recently.
Yeah, like, come on.
Yeah, they've had some guys that you could see why they would pop there, and just for whatever reason didn't quite, and end up pretty good pros.
I think at the end of the day, it's just hard. It's hard to be an NBA All-Star, and these schools that are basketball schools are putting so much talent in, they can't all be All-Stars. And so Baylor will have their day, and the things will come around.
Look at that. Baylor
I hear you, but say that to North Carolina, man.
2025 is the day Pete wishes Baylor has their day, right?
All I meant was as pros. Because Richard had mentioned that school earlier. I do not give a shit about Baylor.
No, I meant because you drafted VJ, man.
Yeah, well, that's
when you.
We're actually trying to make
that didn't even Mike. It's been almost 2 hours. That didn't even register to me. But yes, Baylor's gonna have their day.
There you go.
Can I go back to the Carter Bryant?
Let's say goodbye to Irby real quick. He's got to run.
Okay.
Yeah, Robert, thank you for joining us, man.
Yeah,
I'm going to take 5
Enjoy
real
the
quick.
rest of the draft.
I'll be right back since I had to come in hot.
Sounds good, Mike.
Thanks, man.
So just very quickly back to the Carter Bryant thing, and also a conversation topic that we haven't gotten to yet is the defending champions are about to pick, and Carter Bryant is the most Thunder pick possible. Now they have a million of those guys already, so I don't know if they would want another one, but I'm looking at the board and I don't know who they would take.
Yeah,
that's a good point.
I don't think Kasparis is their guy. Sorber, maybe. Danny Wolf, maybe. But like, as far as what they want, Carter Bryant is that guy.
Yeah,
Carter Bryant, Kasparis makes sense. You're right. Somebody sneaky. Well, it's too early. It's too early for those kind of guys. Like, we had him at Kentucky. Adu Tiero, like he is a very clearly OKC build, but I don't think you need to spend a pick this early for him.
It's
going to got options.
Carter Bryant definitely makes the most sense.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I've the guys that are left on the board. I really like the Fleming kid from St. Joe's. There's a couple bigs left out there. I have Sorber higher, but I do really like Fleming's game.
And we're in that point where
there it is. It's matters. Carter Bryant to the Spurs.
To Spurs, so it didn't even make it to OKC. Well, that
now
was
this
a
gets
timely
interesting.
discussion.
OKC was supposedly calling a bunch of teams about trading into the top 10. I mean, they had the assets to do it if they wanted to.
For sure.
So
Yeah.
I don't.
And I feel like it could be had. We've already seen like 3 or 4 trades. So it's not as if people aren't taking calls. I also wonder, Grant, with OKC's roster, and I know some of the guys are coming off, but it's pretty loaded. And they have several picks over the next couple drafts. Like you'd almost expect them to make a move here because but then again, they do need to backfill with talent. So I'm not sure.
The interesting thing about OKC is every single person who was on their team last year is under contract for this coming year. They had Nikola Topic. Don't forget, he didn't play a second. So they're basically getting a rookie point guard without drafting one in this class.
And they like him a lot.
And they've got a
forget about
million
that.
picks coming up. So in a weird way, OKC is almost going to be forced to trade for a superstar because they're just going to have too many players.
It's true, man. It really is.
Or they can go for broke here and try to find one, right? So like that's the Poku versus the Chet thing. They, similar body types. Poku didn't work for them. And then they got Chet in place, and now that obviously works. So
right, because
be
they have that
interesting.
luxury. They can, and you can cut someone. You can, if you find, you can almost just take this lottery ticket as it is, and see if it works out. And you have the time, and you're already good, and none of it really matters. And if the kid flames out in summer league, or you decide to sign him instead of somebody else, like, I don't know what a position to be in for OKC to have all these assets and have just won the title and have every player in their prime, basically.
Well,
And
who's
every
left
player
that's
under
like,
contract.
who's the craziest swing like that's left right now that they could go for that you'd be like, okay.
Like the highest upside guy left.
Yeah, like I'm staring at like the remaining things. I know you love Jace. I like Jace.
I like Jace. I like
kind of
Sorber.
short.
I would say
like,
Jace.
He would not fit their thing like at all. Like short guy.
Cam Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You're obviously going for one of the younger guys. Like you're going for pure upside, 19 years old, and
well,
I feel
here's
like
what I think is
I feel
that they
like
do
it's
the
Jace.
obvious thing, so they'll just take Casper. Like he's
Yeah.
out there, take this passing guy, figure out what to do with him afterwards.
Listen to this. So the Thunder are picking at 15 and 24 tonight. They got 3 firsts next year. One of those is Utah's. They've got 2 firsts the year after that. Then they've got first and 28, 2 firsts and 29. They just they have too many players. I don't know what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is what Boston had a couple years back. Remember when I guess it was Danny Ainge was piling up all those assets, and it got to the point where they essentially had too many picks, and they had to start pilfering them off and whatnot. But they ended up building a very good team.
Yeah, it's obviously worked out for both of them.
Yeah, yeah.
So like it's a strategy if you have an anchor star, and Boston
works
having their
out.
star, but like yeah, you can make that work and you figure it out afterwards. So just take
works
the best
out well
player that you think is going to be valuable.
If you accumulate assets, maybe aren't very good for a long period of time, and the league doesn't come in and make you change your GM. If the league doesn't make your team change the GM to the fucking Colangelos, you are actually you can let this play out.
This is not Peter. Let's get this done. All right, let's have this out.
That's what happened.
That is what happened. But here's the reality: is you also had a GM who was a terrible drafter. Like who he drafted while he was still there was quite bad. The amount of picks he had,
we kept drafting
shots
centers
on goal, were not great. Like they were actually quite bad. So like I'm not convinced that you had the appropriate decision making. I do agree with your point that like you should have been allowed to continue. And it's weird that they allowed all these other teams afterwards to do the exact same thing.
Well, it's because they weren't as obvious about it. And that's the lesson. is that if you're gonna tank and you're gonna be shitty, pretend that you're trying.
Yeah.
you at least have to say that you're trying.
You have to
But yeah, no, I
invest
agree.
in development.
I hated the Okafor pick. You know that there are so many things they did along the way. And then after the Colangelos came in and they brought in Elton Brand, and Brett Brown was the GM when we traded away Mikal Bridges.
Incredible shirt collar heights, like really high.
Oh yeah, the high collars on Brian Colangelo. That's when we lost all of our assets. Like we made all these mistakes and then kept compounding them, like trading away a bunch of shit for Tobias Harris and then doubling down and signing him to a max. And so that is not the only reason that we didn't turn into OKC. Sam Presti is really good at drafting and winning almost every trade and all this kind of stuff and keeping his team competitive, even when he's gutting the team at the same time. It's actually super impressive. But yeah, I wish we would have been allowed to let it play out all the way. But as soon as we picked Okafor, it kind of threw a monkey wrench into everything.
Sam Presti's going to do a great job managing LeBron's Vegas team.
Is that what's going to happen? He's going to be a free agent.
Theories that they just give him as much money as they have.
I want to know what that guy's doing. Like, what's his next set of goals? Like, he clearly has finally gotten to where he needs to get. And I don't know about Pete and I have been talking about the Pablo Torre Finds Out Sam Presti rap album from the mid 90s. But like, it's clear he's got other interests than just basketball. Like, what does a guy who's spent his last 20 years trying to build that do after he does it?
Yeah. He is under contract for 2 more years or something like that. I don't know. But eventually Sam Presti is going to be the free agent GM. And the theories are running wild. Will he go to Seattle? Will he go to Vegas? Because he has reached the Theo Epstein level. If you want to make a baseball comp to like a GM, like Theo Epstein became the guy who built the Red Sox. Then he was the guy who built the Cubs. And then, the legend was made. That's what Sam Presti is right now. He's built 2 different contenders in Oklahoma City, a small market. And who better to run an expansion franchise than him? And so I am intrigued. Every team wishes they had a Sam Presti, but it's unbelievable what they've done in OKC these last few years.
I would love to see an expansion draft just because I don't think we got the proper media coverage of it when we had it before. Like, seeing that in today's NBA with today's media coverage would be so fun.
There goes my guy to OKC, Thomas Sorber. They pick him up. Oh man,
Oof.
That's a good pick. That's a great pick. Because it's if anything, it's just a stash.
Low risk, yeah. If he's gonna bank, that's a good place for it to happen.
In terms of my board, Richard, and how we evaluate this down the road, like there's not really a better place he could go.
Yeah, agreed.
Learn from hard time for a few years and then protect Chet.
Thunder needs size, yeah.
Man,
it's funny saying the champs need anything, but
I know.
Yeah.
Well, they were like this close. What was it? Game 5? When was it? Game 5? No, game 4 maybe. Game 4, Pacers are up by 10. They have multiple possessions. They can't get a bucket to go in. The crowd is going absolutely apeshit. They can't get a bucket to go in. OKC comes back, wins the game. Like that, the Pacers were that close to winning this title, or at least coming very close.
Shocking. Like, I couldn't believe it.
Yeah, they were up, I think, 10 with 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Would have been up 3-1.
Yeah. And had multiple possessions and couldn't get like 12 or 14. Couldn't expand the lead.
I think Sorber's probably the best pick for the Thunder if we're throwing best player, highest ceiling, whatever. Just like, what do we know they need? I think he's probably the best pick for them.
Yeah. Who did I miss at 14?
Carter Bryant went to San Antonio.
Carter Bryant went to San Antonio.
Yeah, so
And-
like that's solid for him. And like we were talking about before you left, like that pipeline, if somebody's going to figure out how to get the most out of him and not demand the most out of him immediately, that's a really good place.
So what I want, who's left from our top 10s here? We got Mike's Nolan Traore.
Yeah, so he's my guy. Like he was originally like a top 10 guy last year as they were doing like the year out drafts. He's got really good size, really good quickness, can get in the lane. I think he just had a rough year in France, didn't shoot the ball well. And so he's fallen out. But if he could fall, so last year I had Bob Carrington, I think, at 5, and he fell to 14, 9 picks later, and my whiz got him. This year I have Nolan at 9. If he falls 9 picks to 18 and my whiz get him, I'll be super, super excited.
Yeah, that would be.
But I think people have him even lower. Like
I mean,
some
I
people
think
really are off of him.
Yeah, late first, maybe a couple early seconds on him. I still got Jay sitting out there. I think he's one of the best available, according to Billis. The second best available, Asa Newell, is up there at number 1 for Jay Billis, which I like Newell. And I think I think I might have him just a hair ahead of Rasheer. No, I've got Rasheer, Carter Bryant, and then Asa Newell. So
I thought Newell and Murray Boyles had some similarities, at least in size and kind of style of play a little bit. And I like Newell's game better. And so I had him higher on my board. And so if you're looking for another kind of tweener, smart defender, I think Newell has a little more shooting and upside than Murray Boyles did. So I think he's got a chance to play that tweener role and be a good player in the NBA.
The problem with this pick in particular, so this is the Grizzlies pick, so I'm pretty sure this was the one going to the Trailblazers.
Yes.
They've already got Ayton, Donovan Clingan, Time Lord. They need to trade centers away.
Yeah. They got rid of their one small guard in Simons, so I guess they could go with another one if they wanted somebody like Clayton or somebody like that to play next to Drew Holiday now. See.
This team's kind of a mess.
Yeah, they are.
Ideally, if they can get like a 3-4, try to move out of the Jeremy Grant era, maybe even the Denny era, that's probably what they would want to do. Like ideally, they still want Scoot to be their starting guard, Drew mentor him, Shaedon Sharpe be the superstar.
Yeah, so then you're in like the Asa Newell, the Liam McNeely, Kasparis, one of those kind of players that can kind of fit that wing, big 3 to 4 role. Yeah.
I mean, if you think Scoot's just not.
He's not good.
Distributed. Like he's he gets to the rim and he came around at the end of the season, but like Casper can alleviate that, and then he doesn't need to be doing the rest. So
yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about Scoot when I said Walter Clayton as a possibility like that. No, they don't need another little guard. They got Scoot.
No, it's not gonna. But we'll see. Yeah, it's a weird. Who knows?
It's fitting that it's this point in the draft too, where it's like you can't figure out what teams need because they need everything, and they're kind of in that Pittsburgh Steelers window of like this is where they are every year. They're about 500-ish. You're not going to get the great player in free agency. You're not going to get the great player in the draft, so you're just kind of stuck needing a bit of everything.
Yeah, you decide if you're taking the flyer on upside or you take like a super specific fit and take like a 23-year-old guy that you're like, I know he's going to play this exact role for me.
That's the treadmill to mediocrity, right? Like that's what everybody tries to avoid. And it's strange that Portland is here because they don't have any talent. So like, how did you even get this high? Like you should have.
They traded back.
You should have a much better pick than this for being as bad as you are.
Did you guys mention the Simons thing while I was up?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
While we're kind of waiting for Washington to pick at 18 for our Drake brothers here, Richard, you said you weren't as high on Neo Avadalis as I am. And in terms of what Mike Young's been able to do in the portal and where people see him, where he was going in the draft potentially, which was like mid to late second round, and then he pulls out, he comes to the Hokies. Ed said he's basically a 5-star. Do you believe that? Do you think he would be a 5-star coming out of high school with his current talent level?
Yeah. So like evaluating on an NBA level versus college level, very different thing, right? So the challenges that I would see with him, he's got some real skill and he's got some touch and his shot looks pretty good. But it's like when I listened to your podcast, I put it on 1.2 speed. That's the speed I expect an NBA player. He's at 1 speed. Like he's just not, he's fluid, but he's slow. And when he takes a shot, he brings the ball up no matter where he catches it. So like even if he catches it at his upper chest and you want to see him shoot, he's going to bring that ball down to get into his motion. So these are like very bad. You can't do like those are things you can clean up and you can get faster with it. But he did have some like hesitation skills. So like when he's dribbling the ball, he actually had a little herky jerky movement. He had some things that were impressive all of those things are not a big problem in the NCAA. They're a big problem in the NBA.
Yeah.
So I think he's got size, he's got skill, he's got some moves. His defense didn't look terrible. He's just a little slow, but the whole game is a lot slower in the NCAA. And the like shot stuff, you can clean that up, but you'd love to see it already there. But I think there's a difference between that second round evaluation that he's getting for the NBA and what he's going to be able to do in the NCAA. So I think he'll be very good for Virginia Tech. Would he become an excellent NBA player? Can he move into the first round? I don't, unless he addresses those things. Some of those are potential physical limitations. That's a different conversation, but that does not matter in the NCAA. Certainly not in the ACC, which is not as good as it used to be in terms of overall talent level.
Hey, we got Will Wade.
I think
now.
it'll help a lot.
He's gonna make NC State
fun,
good
man.
again. Yeah, now it'll be fun to have someone like that.
The pick is in.
Yeah.
Oh, Yang.
Another center.
Yeah, they now have.
Is that last name or first name?
So the Grizzlies take Yang Hansen.
He's going to the Blazers.
Oh,
yeah.
See, they don't even have that up there.
They did a minute ago. I don't know why they took it away.
So they have DeAndre Ayton, Donovan Clingan, Robert Williams, Duop Reith, Jabari Walker, and Yang Hansen.
You got to be loving this, Grant.
I would say, like, to finish up on the Neo guy, at least my 2 cents on it, I agree with a lot of what Richard was saying. I think what I saw was actually really good side-to-side dribbling. Like, he can do a step back, he can do a side step, get into his shot. But if you bump him at all on the way to the rim, like, he just stops and he freezes, right? So maybe that's a little bit of lack of athleticism. Maybe it's he just needs to get a little stronger, have some better coaching on, like, really attacking the shoulder and getting downhill and being willing to go at somebody. So if he figures that piece of it out, I think his side-to-side, his step back, his shooting is really strong. So, like, there's pieces he has to put together, but there's a good player in there for sure.
Yeah, and Mike Young, for all his faults, and Grant knows they can be many at times, he's a good basketball coach. And shooting, he will get the most out of you as he can. Yeah. Chester Frazier coming in, which is a major reason we even have Neo and Amari Hansberry coming over from West Virginia. Great recruiter, but Chester is also an excellent defensive coach. He's been with Illinois last couple years. He used to be at Virginia Tech back under Buzz for at least a season, but great assistant coach. We will be better defensively. Mike Young will get the most out of Neo and utilize him to the best of his ability. And with Isaiah Pasha coming over from Delaware, all CAA, I think he was CAA freshman of the year. That's what he was. So we'll have options on as guards. We'll have a lot of big options. We brought in another German kid who's 22 years old. He's in the second division over in Germany, which might not be the best basketball, but it's at least, a caliber that will, it'll be a bench player he can give you 15, 20 minutes a night in the ACC. So I am excited about Neo. The shot thing is for sure. And I agree with what Richard had to say in terms of like where it's coming up. But in college, that shouldn't be as big of a deal. So I don't know if he's a 5-star. 5-star is like, how many 5 stars are there every year?
Less than 10.
Yeah. Okay. So 5-star is a lot, but is he a high 4? Yes, I do believe Neo to be on that evaluation to be a high 4. And originally when I saw him, I compared him to Buzelis. Buzelis' shot was a little bit better in terms of how, like, the whole motion of the shot, I thought. But the aggressiveness with which Neo plays is very exciting. And God, I'm hoping he lives up to the billing, because Tech we need something sports wise. We don't know what we're going to get out of football.
Oh yes, we do.
You're not optimistic, Grant?
I think 6-6 would be like, set the fireworks off. Let's celebrate.
Oh wow!
Oh, I like this take.
Oh,
I gave Richard and Pete so much crap for a long time, especially Richard, to be like, "Hey man, you're from Kentucky. Hop off the Tech bandwagon. Get on Kentucky." And Mark Stoops. I was hoping you all would kind of meet us at the top, and turns out we met each other at the bottom.
Yeah, well, you guys had some nice years in there, and a lot of talent on the D line, and Stoops and Vince. What is that his name? The assistant
Vince
that just
Marrow.
went to Louisville. Yeah,
Yeah.
Vince Marrow. Did work for a long time, and now it seems as if Kentucky is on the decline,
Reverting to the mean.
You may have
to the mean.
Summerall coming in. Like, Summerall's the name that everyone keeps talking about that eventually will be the new coach at Kentucky.
It feels like we're on our pace to that. I don't see how. The only reason we wouldn't is because we owe Stoops $30 million still after this year. So that'll be rough if he doesn't want to leave, and even if we have a bad year.
Transitioning back to the draft.
Yeah.
Johan Behringer to Minnesota just came across the screen. Washington is up next at number 18. What are you guys rooting for here?
Casper. Give me the passer. Like,
yeah.
If you can get him at 18, like, that's awesome.
He's perfect.
Yeah, I'd take that. Like, I definitely want my guy Traore that I rated higher. So that'd be my pick.
Too.
But, like, other than that, yeah, a guy like Casper's great. Who else?
Let me see the big board here.
Ace is still out there. Like, there's a lot of talent in this level that I was hoping to be there that's there. And so now it's, you hope your front office has got a pretty good evaluation on it. But
Richard, you had, Jason Richardson at 16, Kobe Brea at 17, and Thero at 18. And so I don't think and Casper at 12. So that would be.
Yeah,
he's older, but I like Neat Clifford too. Like, it'd be odd for the Wizards in their shape to draft like a 23-year-old, but I like his game as one of those other wings that have certain qualities. I feel like he can shoot the ball. He's a little bigger. He's like a poor man's Carter Bryant.
Yeah, Neek would be fine.
Draft,
I think there's a couple higher upside options, and if you're the Wizards that
I want the upside.
Yeah, coming off, like, they got this $100 million coming off the cap hold this year, in addition to all those vets that maybe these younger guys can learn a thing or two from. Take the biggest swing you can and see, because one of these has got to hit, right? Like, one of Bub Carrington, the pick you already took tonight, this guy.
They do not have to hit. You can talk to Orlando, who did this for 15 years, and eventually after 15 years, well, we've been doing it for 2. Yeah. So I don't think
but even Orlando had Dwight Howard, which for all intents and purposes was a hit. And they went to the finals with Dwight. I know that was a long time ago now, but still.
I mean, they wandered in the wilderness for a very long time. Similar to Charlotte, they've been trying to figure out how to put it together, rising to the level of just like a play-in or early, playoffs. And that's not I'd rather us be crappier longer and just like get a hit and then push it. But, we'll see.
Despite your fear of Euros, Casper played at Illinois, and it'd be a great pick here. Like, that would be a really nice way to cap off the night.
I don't hate Asa Newell here either.
There you go. I like that too.
Yeah, I like that guy.
I had him quite high originally and then pushed him down. I think I had him so high that Pete was like, is this a fake? I was like, yeah, I haven't been doing a lot of effort at the early draft, but I did end up pushing him way down, and Michael had him pretty high.
Asa at 17.
a lineup with Alexar Asanuel and Bilal Koulibaly. If those guys just progress moderately on offense, that's a very good defensive team.
Yeah, and then you got Bub and Trey Johnson taking all the shots. Like that's solid. I like that.
Yeah, it's not terrible.
No,
It'd be
that's a
interesting.
fun young group of players.
The pick really shapes the way the team would play. Like if it's Asa versus Casper, I think they both work, but the style that the team plays is just completely different.
I gotta be honest, you guys are exciting me. I think I'm just going to start my season tickets back up right now.
Here we go.
They're going to take someone we haven't even talked about yet, and it's
And I'm going to be like, fuck, it's over.
It's going to bring you
know.
down. They're going to take
I'll say it.
Kalkbrenner or something.
I don't mind Kalkbrenner. Like if you're going to go,
I would take
center,
Kalkbrenner. Fine.
I like
I don't hate
Kalkbrenner. I was trying to think of someone we haven't mentioned yet.
Yeah, like he's, at this point, we know that we don't have any centers. Like we don't have a real big. Like there's a theoretical one, maybe 6-7 years down if we can move for small ball lineups. But like, yeah, I wouldn't hate it.
But yeah, like other than like I would have taken Castle over Sar last year, but like other than that, I feel like they've done a pretty good job with their draft, like last 3 draft picks, and so I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt here. Hopefully, it's one of the guys we like, but
yeah,
we'll see.
I do feel like the new administration has ruined my ideas for you get a 41 game Wizards thing, but now I have to go into the office every day. That's not fun. I want to be able to get blackout drunk on a Tuesday watching an NBA game and just like telework for the first like 2 hours. Now, having said that, that's probably why they're making me go.
Your work
is to prevent that.
So you have to go back to the office 5 days a week now?
This is being recorded. Yes.
Yes, 5 days a week. Now, my boss, if you were in the Alexandria area and I'm a Fed, you have to go back. And so my boss goes back, and he said that they're so strict on the 5 days back in the office that you can telework like 3 Fridays a year. And otherwise, you need to be in there 5 days a week. Like that is
very different. Yeah, it's not good for Wizard season tickets. That is all I'll say on the topic.
No metro rides home from at the Rocket Bar. What's the place right across from the Verizon Center?
Rocket Bar Clyde's.
Yeah, Rocket
like
Bar.
that's Used to be
still
rear
open?
That went away. Yeah, it's still there. We were there a couple weeks ago.
I do enjoy
now months
Clyde's
ago.
and Rocket.
It's a good time. They have this new Japanese pizza place that took over for a certain place that was there that you may have dated somebody who there was a big scandal around the thing. And I'll leave that alone. But like that's great. Like it's a really solid, like go get a drink, get a Negroni, like have a weird Japanese pizza. Okay. They have a Philly cheesesteak pizza there. Yeah, I think you'd enjoy.
No, I'm all over that. No, they've always had good places to eat around the Verizon Center.
Oh, we're trading to the Jazz. I'm reading the screen. Sham says we're trading to the Jazz. Where do they pick next? Or is this like completely out of the first round?
It could be to the next draft.
Good here.
Could be for next year.
Yep, probably is.
Walter Clayton Jr. is the pick.
21.
So we traded back. Wow.
Okay.
Jazz are at 21, so moving back 3. I don't hate that. Pick up something.
Do we want to keep the stream going to 21 if they have that pick?
If you're willing.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, I'm going to keep drinking now and pace myself appropriately. But
yeah, at least we don't have the. It's 2 days now. I was going to say, at least we don't have 40. It would be up till 1 a.m., but it's 2 days.
Mike, last time, I know you're in Phoenix right now for work. Last time I was in Phoenix, everyone was telling me about this pizza place that I had to go to. Have you heard anything about this?
Pizzeria Bianco?
Yes.
So, like I wasn't able to, I couldn't convince my coworkers to go there last night. They're probably going to listen to this, but we went to a really good place instead, and they didn't realize that I wasn't going to dinner tonight or tomorrow. I got to get on a red eye, or we probably would have gone. But I think I'm going to try after our working session tomorrow to like head over there, have a quick slice, check it out before I have to get on the plane.
It's good. I went last time I was there. It is very good compared to like the best in even DC or Jersey area. Like it's, I don't know. It's not going to blow your mind, but it is worth a trip. Like it's a good spot.
right.
They got a nice few beers on the list, all like, brick oven type style. Like it's tasty. And they got very unique stuff that you will not be able to get everywhere.
All right, I'll give it a shot. More importantly, I have to go to Arizona State to their hockey rink to get my kid a sweatshirt or something. So I got to make that happen.
They have
for
a hockey
everyone.
team, Arizona State.
They have one of
Works
the best
up.
in the country, actually. Yeah, they got a crazy good rink. It's where the Coyotes played when they didn't have a rink.
Tech has a club team that's pretty good.
Yeah, they are.
But
Kentucky, Tech, UNC, Louisville are like all in kind of like Division I of ACHA.
yeah, we did an outdoor game in Charlotte, like right around the time we played the bowl game down there. And people, like a lot of our fans went down and the jerseys were sick. It's amazing how like robust
Dude,
that
it's so
club
fun.
hockey scene is.
Yeah, Kentucky plays all their games at midnight at home. Like it's wild.
What?
Yeah,
Is it at like a municipal court or do they have like, or
they have
a rink?
stands. Yeah. It could probably seat like 800 people, maybe less than that, maybe 500. But like it's just the local Lexington ice rink.
So Walter Clayton goes to the Jazz via the Wizards.
Yeah.
And second round picks. That's all we got. I don't know what those are.
We get 21 and some seconds.
Yeah, that's
Nice.
fine.
That's nice. Yeah, because there's plenty, as we were discussing, there's plenty of guys here that are worthy of a pick, and we weren't even really talking about Walter Clayton in there. And my guy Jace is still sitting out there. Now, I guess the knock on him, Grant, would be obviously the size, but he shot at the ball really well, and I thought he showed enough creativity to warrant being taken earlier in this draft.
Yeah, size definitely, especially if you're going to be a defensive-minded sort of player. He did show an ability to shoot the ball efficiently. That being said, he didn't strike me as a guy who's going to consistently create his shot or like take these quick pull-ups. Now, maybe he can develop that a little bit. He still only averaged like 11 points per game, even though he was Michigan State's leading scorer. I don't view him as a guy that I would ever really want starting for my team. But at the same time, if you're going in the 20s, you're not usually going to be in that sort of position. So I don't know.
One thing, you just brought up a good point about Michigan State team basketball. No one has super high point totals or anything like that. And I think about the Rutgers kids. And you got these two top picks going to Rutgers of all places. One seems idiotic to me.
Yes.
If you living in the state of New Jersey, I think that is idiotic. But if you're a young stud and you're potentially a top 5 pick in the NBA, what is the school? It used to be Kentucky that you'd want to go to get to the draft and whatever else. What's the school now that you would want to send your top 5 draft pick kid to, Richard?
Duke. Still Duke. Like,
Yeah.
I hate to say that, but it's Duke. Like, they've got
That's probably the answer.
the combination of success plus the combination of top draft picks plus the connection to Nike. They have it all, and they have a very big donor base that is willing to bring the money that needs to be where it needs to be. So like Duke has got it. Beyond Duke, it's a harder question.
It's
I
a
think
very
it
difficult
is
question.
one off. After you get out of Duke, there's a lot of these schools that can put together a package of money. A lot of them that have football money that can start like sniping at people and using that on, at least as of right now, on name, image, and likeness, not on pay for play.
Right.
As I've heard.
The Bamas, the Auburns, we've seen this, that those kids came back to school, particularly at Auburn.
I think if you can stand getting screamed at, 2 has got to be UConn right now. And especially like when you think about the money that can come in and they don't have a football program, if they can raise the money, they can spend $20 million on basketball if they want, right? Like they don't have a football program to force 15 million of the 20 to go that direction. Not
But
that they
can
can
that
raise it and
happen?
spend. Depends
they're
on what
not
kind of donor
doing
base
it.
they have.
Is he
No.
screaming at their parents too? Like,
We'll see.
I don't
But
know
that's
that
where
he has
he's got the coaching
personality for
pedigree. And yeah, he's got the coaching pedigree. They have some money. They have a style of play that works in a history. Like that's probably my number two.
Like if I'm Ace Bailey last year and I'm like, where should I go to college? Where am I going to get better? And I know that, and I guess it didn't matter because the kid still went in the top 5, but Rutgers would be so far down the list. Like I really can't process it. I think Jay Wright would have been one of those coaches you'd want to play for. Izzo.
Yeah. Same situation as UConn if he was still there, right? At Villanova.
Yeah.
Gonzaga. Don't you think it's the reverse of that? Gonzaga. Though?
Yeah, if you're on the West Coast,
opposite Gonzaga is true. If you're like, if you go to a good place and you're going to a good coach, and you still screw up, your market is 0, right? If you go to UConn and it turns out you're not that good, you're done. Nobody's going to pick you in the NBA.
That's really.
If you go to Rutgers and you suck, everybody's going to say it's Rutgers' fault, and you still get drafted, right? So like when you're evaluating these things, you want that's why Kentucky was so good.
That's one of the most poignant things you've said all night long.
Well, and which is why Ace Bailey wanted to force himself after Rutgers to not a top 3 team that jumped up there and will have expectations immediately, right?
Yeah, he knows how to hide.
He's hiding. He's a hider.
Is that Greenberg on the screen right there?
Compensation update, by the way. So the Wizards are getting, in addition to the 21, they're getting 43 in second rounders in 2031 and 2032.
All right, so we're back in the second round. That's fun.
In 2031 and 2032.
No. 43 this year.
Oh,
okay.
this year?
Okay. And then 2 more in the future. That's good. For moving down 3 picks, I like it.
Richard, I hadn't even considered that, but all the guys I named earlier, and even Anthony Edwards, right? He goes to Georgia, not a basketball school. Washington with Markelle Fultz. LSU with Ben Simmons. It's these schools that are not really basketball schools that these number 1 picks go to and fail, and it doesn't impact their stock. And
they don't get blamed.
That's
you
why you
Ace
do
Bailey
it.
At Alabama last year, like if he was really wanting to play him at playing the 4 for Alabama, running up and down the court, shooting all kinds of threes, like if he was a real player, like he would have looked incredible in that system.
Okay.
But I don't think he wants that, right? He wants to hide and jack shots and hold onto the ball and not give it up. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's an if because with the portal and everything, every team is new every year. You don't know how it's going to play out. And so I had never thought of that, but it makes sense, right? Go somewhere.
No, you all send your kids to get stacked up at a good school and ride the bench, and I'll send my kid to a crap school that'll overpay him. I don't even care if he's good. Get to the NBA and then buy me my vacation.
This is why Neo is coming to Virginia Tech, because he can blame Mike Young if it doesn't work out.
Yep, you got it.
There's your guy about like Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons. The other angle is that it's not just that they didn't go to the big schools; it's that they went to losing teams. They went to teams that didn't make the tournament, and they were still the number 1 pick in the draft. To me is probably the biggest indicator. And not even considering the fact that there was also the 2nd pick in the draft on that team. So like I'm looping Dylan Harper into this too. If you've got 2 top 5 picks on one team, you can say basketball is a team sport. It is. At the college level, if you have 2 top 5 picks on one team, you need to be in the tournament.
It's ridiculous.
Had a losing record.
And I know Harper had injuries. I get all that, but I'm with you, Grant. Like that's one of the reasons I was super scared of Ace Bailey. I like what Dylan Harper put on film, and he has that injury thing. But like you're right, it wasn't just 1; it was 2. And kudos to that coach who was able to get those 2 kids there, and the NIL package or whatever that got those kids there. But just it worked out for them. So it didn't even matter that they chose poorly. To Richard's point, maybe they chose wisely.
Yeah, I think they did the right thing. I think it's that there's a trick there, and I think everybody knows it. So like this is not weird. You see it consistently throughout, the way that the recruiting cycles have been going over the last year, which is and I'm sure this is part of AAU too, but there's an optimization there where it's like you want to increase your profile. You want to be able to show whatever it is that you can do. And that's the best way to transfer to the NBA. Winning is not part of that equation. Like that's not part of the reward cycle that's there for a kid coming into college.
As the school, it's like those schools never really did anything after those number 1 picks. And I don't expect Rutgers to all of a sudden get another top 5 guy this year. So like they're really being used for the money for the year that was, but like nothing good is going to happen to Rutgers basketball because of this. And that would be the thing that would be annoying me. Like if Tech had just gotten 2 top 5 picks in the NBA draft, we missed the tournament. And I know like we're probably not pulling that again. Like that all sucks. Like I don't know. Like
you don't think the reverse? Like I would love to root for at BT
a 15
like
and
2 top
17
draft
team
picks, because we're not going to be good anyway. So like,
I think we
what's
will be
the
good
difference?
this year.
Like we might as well have some weird hope to watch somebody in the pros, and then also, you get to ride this, 1 year for 5 years.
They were excited
That's better
for
than being
a couple weeks
mediocrely
ago.
bad and barely making the tournament every once in a while.
I mean, essentially, Virginia Tech's basketball team had the same year Rutgers did, and we were ass, in the words of Toby Lawal. So it's kind of, it is mind bending, and all the more reason maybe you don't want those guys on your NBA team. But we'll see. Grant, on that note, how do you were down on Pry on Mike Young next year? Do you have expectations? Do you feel like we're a tournament team?
I don't, to be honest, I don't know. There's so many moving parts. And one thing that I'm personally not great at, it's important to know your strengths and weaknesses. I'm not great at judging teams specifically at the college level, regardless of what the sport is, where it's just a whole bunch of new stuff, whether it's entirely portal kids, entirely high school kids. I'm not great with it, especially considering there's the involvement of the overseas players coming in. I will say my gripes with Mike Young, and like I love him to death for getting the ACC tournament, obviously. My gripe with him is that he's too old school, not even in like how he plays, just like everything is so rigid and structured, and a lot of times there's over dribbling. His plays, sometimes there's just too much fluff on them. And the way he plays, like we're talking about places you would want your kid to go play to get prepared for the NBA. Virginia Tech's close to the bottom of my list because they don't do anything that is working in the NBA. And I know that it's completely different skill sets. College kids are not as good as professional kids or professional adults, but he's not even trying to copy some of those concepts.
Well, the main concept of floor spacing, shooting the 3, Mike Young has been ahead on that for a long time.
He has been, but it's weird. Like you could do things like inverted veers and empty side pick and rolls and double drags and all this stuff that uses those modern concepts and capitalizes on spacing, creating mismatches. I don't see a lot of ghost screens with the shooters. And there's just a lot of stuff he could do that he doesn't. And I'm not saying that he doesn't understand basketball, because that's not the case at all that I'm trying to make. I'm saying I think he sets up his teams in a way that is not conducive to getting the best possible product out of them.
Especially with young players or players new to the system. I think for Mike Young to be at his best, you need familiarity, which is hard for me to say, but you need to be familiar with the system and and that's why we got so much better throughout the year last year. Like we really struggled in out of conference play. Like we looked terrible. And then at the end of the year, we're playing Louisville to the gun. We're playing SMU to the gun. Like we're really competing a couple times, which I know Miami sucked, but it still felt nice. And I thought conference play was going to be a disaster, and it really wasn't. It was actually fun to watch most nights. And so that's the thing about Mike Young. And maybe that is something to what you're saying, is that if he incorporated some of these newer concepts, easier to understand concepts, things that maybe they're already running at a young age, then it would be easier for these kids. I don't know. Defensively, I think we're going to see something entirely different this year. So we'll see what Frazier does to the defense, but I appreciate your insight on that one. So I'm seeing on the screen that Utah is picking at 21. Is that false?
That's the trade. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
The Wizards pick, yeah.
Oh, Casper finally goes at 20 here.
Right in front of him.
Son of a bitch.
So yeah, I think it's clear. The Miami wanted Walter Clayton, right? There was all that heat on him.
Yeah.
So clearly the Jazz did too. And Wizards did a good job of leveraging both those teams that wanted him and let the Jazz jump up and got some second rounders out of it.
Good point, man. And that is a good Miami pick.
Asa, get him.
Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah, I think so. That'd be good.
So with Koulibaly, what's his main position? Is he playing? I'm not
He's a
super.
three.
Who knows?
He's a 3.
Okay.
Like, J. Kyle Mann calls him Parisian Pippin, as it's the most ludicrous thing in the world. But like that's what he sees as upside, right? It's just wing player who's bigger, longer, can really defend. The shots iffy. I don't know. I was not sold when we drafted him. I'm still not sold, but the kid plays hard. He can definitely play defense, but I'll replace him in a second if we find somebody better on the wing.
Yeah,
But there's
the
still
upside
some
is still
upside for him.
there. You can
It's
see
still there.
flashes getting better. It's there.
I think he's the Lou Dort position. He's a 2, he's a 3, he's a 4. Kind of just depends.
He just doesn't have that linebacker like thick build like Dort, but yeah, he can really get after it and get
But
underneath
like someone like Asa would be good with him. Like if we want to hold on to him and project him to have his upside, like this is a nice little pairing, and with Bub and
I think it would give you a lot of flexibility. Like
yeah.
I think you can play them together. I think you can play one over the other and mix and match. Like I think no worry with fit on that.
And I was
His
high
upside
on Bub.
is defense though. So like you're right. Like with Asa, with Trey especially, we've added offense. And so like that's not a bad balance. Like you can manage that and he can play within himself and within his game and not rely on him to pop too much. So we'll see. I mean, I hope
I think Fleming would
to,
be good here too, but
a lot of people had us tied to Danny Wolf in mock drafts too. That would be an interesting one. It's not my favorite, but I do like him. He's like again, I said we need playmaking, and he's a guy who can play make. I don't know that it works at the NBA level, but he's got
defensively,
some vision.
Right? He's a good defender.
Danny Wolf?
I don't know about Wolf as a defender. Like
he's a shot blocker, not a defender.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where my.
But when I said if you want like that number, that 5 that plays at the top of the key and kind of play makes with the guards running around him, like if you're setting screens for Trey Johnson and for Bub coming off the 3-4 setting screen, you know what I mean? Like, and then you have Wolf distributing at the 5 from the top of the key. Like, I could see that. Like, I could envision it.
Yeah, but it doesn't work with Sar.
Yeah,
so like those two would be a horrible fit together, but they don't have to play at the same time. Like,
right.
And you can try to figure out what you have. So it's not the end of the world. It's a big version of Casper, which we just missed on. So yeah,
I think Asa's still one, and I like Nick Clifford too. Like I still, again, if you're willing to take a 23-year-old, like I still like him
at 21.
Yeah.
Pick 21. Yes, you are willing to take a 23-year-old in this draft for sure.
And if he pops sooner than the rest of your team is ready to be ready, then you trade him, right? And go find another first-round pick for him or something.
You were talking earlier, Mike, about either players that Kentucky went up against that you didn't think lived up to the hype, or ones that did play well. And for me, that's Raynard from Stanford. Like when we played him, he cooked us in one of those games, and I've liked him ever since. And so I think he's in my early second round, like for my sleepers, but he's coming up on these boards a bunch of times. And all bets are off in terms of people being taken now. Like, don't pay attention to the boards.
Yeah.
But yeah, Asa would be nice.
Rasheer Fleming, I don't think is awful either.
I like Fleming. I really like Fleming. Strong kid.
What do the numbers say on Fleming, Richard? I didn't see those. Like he's got the size and the body. Like I can get it, but I didn't look at the numbers on him.
I've had enough to drink that I reached.
I feel like his true shooting was
my mouse.
Pretty damn good.
He was 53% from the field, 39% from 3 on 4.5 attempts per game, 74% from the free throw line.
All right.
Yeah.
Solid shooting numbers you can build on. I don't hate
definitely good shooting numbers, good advanced stuff on BPM.
Very good defensive player.
Yeah.
Yeah, not terrible. Very fast in the lane. Yeah.
His true shooting was 638. I know we're talking about a bigger guy, but like
That's pretty good, man.
That's
Yeah.
nice.
If
His
you're
BPM
shooting-
was 7.7.
Yeah.
Like that's outrageously good. Like I
I
like
just
this
found the
kid,
pick.
man.
I like it. He's young, a lot younger than Clifford, right? So yeah, a little more
He's
youth, a little more
21.
upside.
Well, he's 3 years in.
Oh, is he like 21 also?
Yeah, he's
Yeah,
20.9
he's
years
played
old.
3
He's
years.
21.
Draft.
That's still 2 years younger than Clifford.
And
I think he's 23.
And Mike, he's
Yeah.
he's from Camden, so you know he's
There
tough.
you go.
Legit.
He's built tough.
You know
Yeah.
Camden. Your wedding was overlooking Camden, so
Yeah, it really was.
the majestic view of Camden from the
Majestic.
Sugar House Casino.
Yeah, that's where DJ Wagner's from.
Yeah, that's right.
Is he still
Nobody's
from
rooting for
Kentucky right
DJ
now?
Wagner.
No, he went to Arkansas last year.
Oh, he did. Okay, that's
Oh,
right.
okay,
I knew
yeah.
that. And he hasn't quite lived up to it, right? Wasn't he the number
Nah.
1 overall recruit? Or something
No,
like
but
that?
he was definitely like top 10. Like maybe the number 1 point guard. I don't remember. Number 1 or 2 point guard.
I gotcha.
I feel like he's lived up to exactly what everybody expected of him, which was like it was somewhat of a down year, and he was limited in what his
And
capabilities
he got hurt
were.
with us too. He hurt his ankle with us too. So like he just can't shoot. He hasn't figured out how to shoot.
I don't think
And he-
anyone expected him to still be in college right now.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
No, that happens sometimes. I mean, like the Shea year at Kentucky, he was not the lead guard we had
Quade
brought in.
Green.
Quade Green
Quade
was,
and
he
Diallo.
was similar to DJ Wagner in that different set of limitations, but just wasn't good enough and got pushed out of the way. And you realized it pretty quick, like this isn't going to work.
That was such a fun Kentucky team. That 2017.
Well,
I know
problem-
the Wizards pick, and we have not said his name this entire night.
Oh god.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
We draft like Hugo from Spain.
Nope.
No.
Say it ain't Hugo.
If you
This is
can't
fun,
get
man.
if you can't
This is
get
titillating.
Casper, you get
Will
Okay.
Riley.
The ghost.
We get Will Riley from you take the other Illinois guy. All
that is
right.
correct.
That
He's so skinny. Like he
He's
sucked
in the
against
green
us
room?
too.
oh damn.
What a strange pick.
I think I had him in my second round.
They must
there's
have
some-
known they liked him and
Yeah.
like knew they could trade back and get him, and nobody
Yeah.
was going to come there. So they have a read on this guy.
Interesting.
I don't know. I mean, he's big, obviously, more
Yeah.
size, more versatility, kind of T-Rex arms, like shorter arms, shorter wingspan than height, though. So like,
Oh, that's not good.
yeah, nobody loves that. Not the biggest hands either.
We'll see.
Yep. There it is. It's on TV now.
12, 4, and 2. 43% from the field.
Yeah, I
There's
think there
not
were
a
better
lot of
guys out
stats
there,
I
but we'll
love.
see.
Yeah,
6, 8.
I have to assume there's something they liked about him.
Yeah,
Like,
clearly.
there's nothing that really jumps otherwise.
They
I mean,
traded
he was-
Kyle Kuzma and got him back.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big 10 6 man of the year. There's something.
Yeah. How about that?
6 man of the year in college is not a good it's not a positive.
That's 5 people in front of you.
Oh man, yeah, that's true. That's true. That's not a good thing. But he was a freshman, so I'll give him that. 12 points a game in the Big Ten as a freshman, 21st pick. Like it's not that bad. But
It's less than
there
ideal for
are
us.
are guys that I would have. There are guys that I would have rather had over him. Me, the non NBA GM.
Yeah, I think this is a
I was trying to
downer to
find
end
his-
on. But
I was trying
you
to
know,
find some of his advanced stuff,
happen.
seeing if I could find something good here.
There's nothing good.
Oh, the
He's
the
got like,
BPM is good. The
it's not great. 3-point per shooting is not terrible at 33%. Everything else is kind of bleh. He's a pretty low combination of
6'8".
defensive, offensive, box plus minus.
His true shooting is pretty bad.
Yeah, it's not great. It speaks of bad decision making for
Also,
actual
his
results.
At least we have
His
43 back. So now I'll root for a second round
Yeah.
pick sleeper that I like.
he went to
I just have to
the
hope that
Marcus Smart School of Acne.
ooh,
Ouch.
poor
that's
poor
mean.
kid.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry.
hard.
Sorry, Lewis Witcher. Maybe Grant would know that name. I'm not even sure. Do you remember Lewis Witcher?
I do.
He had really bad skin, the poor kid. But yeah, Will Riley didn't see that one coming.
Will Riley didn't see it coming.
Well, the fact is he was there. Like he was
there, right?
in the green room, or
So maybe
whatever
that's
they
our
wanna call it.
telegraph. We knew we were going to telegraph a pick.
Maybe
we just
we'd
didn't know
already
it was,
promised him.
Yeah, I bet that was it.
My guy Jace is still sitting out there. Atlanta.
Maybe he agreed to take a two-way. Sometimes that's the thing when you get these
Yeah,
second-round picks and you
that's
don't have room
possible.
at the top. I think OKC pioneered this, which was like drafting somebody late and then getting them to promise quietly that they'd take a two-way, and
You're gonna
then you
make
don't have to.
an extra $5 million over a couple of years, but we're going to need you to take a two-way.
Brooklyn
Yeah.
is picking at 22. Did they trade some of their assets to move up? I
Oh,
guess
it
so.
must have. Because I've just got Atlanta there.
Was this
Yeah.
part of the? I think they got this as part of the Atlanta. Who did Atlanta just trade with? It was like a three-way deal.
Oh yeah. Was that the Porzingis deal?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn's picking. So OKC picks in 2 picks. That'll be Jace Richardson. That will be my because I like Sorber. I like Jace. The OKC's going to get him too.
Oh boy.
I think I'm gonna hop off here, guys.
Yeah, we're going to close it out too. So Grant, thank you for being here. Appreciate it. We'll try to make this a yearly thing. Maybe if you want to hop on at some point during the year and something other than the NBA draft, we can do that too. But you can catch Grant's stuff with Robert Irby, who was on the show on his podcast, Hostile Environment, and Sons of Saturday contributor at points, and whatever else you got going on. Feel free to plug at this moment.
Just follow me on Twitter if you want to see what I'm up to. I'm all over the place. Haven't succumbed to the 9 to 5 yet. I'm just kind of freelancing everywhere, so we'll figure it out.
Understood. Thanks for coming out here, buddy. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Have a
Peace.
good one.
Oh, see, this reminds me of the old days when we would, just stay up watching the draft all night. I'm kind of mad there's no second round right now.
Yeah, this is where you start taking shots to like really get yourself. So here's the thing. I've got this thing of Evan Williams.
Yeah. Drake Powell. Let me tell you.
Do I do any more?
Trust Evan Williams.
I'm on vacation tomorrow, like starting tomorrow.
Oh, look at that. You got a nice little Thursday.
And then
Yeah.
Joey is coming up here tomorrow, Richard, Thursday night. Nicole comes up Friday with Michael, and Phil comes up Saturday.
Oh yeah, you got the big Philadelphia blockbuster.
Yeah. I mean, we're doing Philadelphia blockbuster suburban style.
Yes, you're going to the what was that pizza restaurant you took us to? It was nice. It's good.
Oh, La Scala's. Yeah. La
I
Scala's
like
is
that.
right around the corner. I'm probably going to try to take him to the brewery this year. We got a nice winery. We got a nice brewery. We're having a house party Saturday night, Mike. It's gonna be
Nice.
some good shit. We're breaking in the new kitchen renovation this weekend. So
Sweet.
I'm
We
excited
gotta-
about it.
I got to take the red eye back tomorrow because we got Savannah Bananas tickets for Friday night.
Ooh,
So excited
yes.
to check that out and see what it's like.
Where's it at?
Nats Park.
Oh, sweet, dude.
Yeah.
We
Could not convince the wife to
who's
sell them all.
who's the opponent? Do you know?
I do. It's not the Party Animals. It's one of the other ones.
Shoot.
I forget.
We just had one of the party animals on the Sons of Saturday. Tanner Thomas, former Virginia Tech baseball player, is on the party animals. It was a cool interview. Billy
Nice.
and Mike Holmes interviewed him, and it just sounds like such a cool job to
I'm
be
ex- yeah.
on one of those teams.
Yeah, I think it'll be super
How does it
fun.
compare to the classic Freddie Prinze Jr. Summer Catch?
I love Summer
Lifestyle.
Catch. Summer Catch is great. The Cape Cod League, is that what it was?
I don't know. Weird.
So we were doing like
this
at
big-
our work
Go ahead,
thing
Mike.
today, like at the very beginning, they did like an icebreaker thing and said like, what are your favorite childhood movies? And all of us are around the same age-ish, somewhere late 20s to late 40s, somewhere in there. And like 6 of them were baseball movies. And I'm like, that's never going to happen again. It was all Sandlot, A League of Their
Yeah.
Own, Field of Dreams. Like my kids' age and older, they won't have a single baseball thing involved.
Drake Powell goes to the Hawks. Mike, let me
I
counter.
like that pick for them.
My nephew
I would have
Jake
been happy.
is 10. He was up here about 2 months ago to stay with us for the weekend. And he had just discovered Sandlot. And he put it on
Oh, it's so good.
every day he was
That was
here.
my pick. That was literally my pick.
Every day he was here, he watched Sandlot. So
Yeah.
the kids are all right. They still,
are. And my son loves the Sandlot too, but like he's going to take Mighty Ducks over it, and he's probably going to take
well, Mighty
a
Ducks
different
rules.
basketball movie over it. Something, yeah.
I mean,
Has
the
he
fact
seen-
that they're taking films that are 30 years old is not a good sign for our.
Well, there's
current
no-
production.
yeah,
Yes,
there's
it
like-
is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
There's no like Space Jam 2 was awful. Like I don't know what the fun like $20 million
What's
youth
the sports
movie
movie?
is
Yeah.
now.
But none
can't
of our
think of-
parents made us watch 20-year-old movies when we were growing up that they watched
Are you
when
kidding?
they were growing up.
I mean,
When we were
watched
kids,
Star
I mean,
Wars,
we
other
get
than
older.
Star Wars as well.
Star Wars
Star
is
Wars,
literally
yeah,
it.
yeah. Star
Yeah.
Wars is it, right?
Yeah.
Like there were no, we didn't. I mean, I guess we watched some
Wizard
Disney,
of
but they had to-
Oz, like
maybe they just
Mary
weren't
Poppins.
any.
Well, movies like weren't made for kids when
No.
before a
Yeah, I was
certain
gonna say
time.
Taxi. My dad loved sending us to watch Taxi Driver at like 5 or 6. It's really
That's funny, man. Yeah, everyone's parents recorded Star Wars off television at some point and made us watch the recorded tape. But other than that, you're right. There weren't so many. But when we were kids, that was the golden age of kids' sports movies. Though.
Oh, yeah.
Rookie of the Year, Mighty Ducks, Sandlot, as we've said. Little Big League was really good. That was a little bit
Yeah.
later, but that's a
We
really
said
good
Air
movie.
Up There, Angels
Air
in
Up
the
There.
Outfield.
Iron
Angels,
Will
yeah.
was really
Yeah.
good, and that was about dog sledding. But still, I'm going to put it in the sports category.
Yeah.
So many good ones.
And
And-
time.
Oh,
We're-
Little Giants. Little
Yeah,
Giants.
Little Giant. Well, you know what was the original though, guys? Oh, we didn't mention old Bad News Bears.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we watched that. That was our dad was excited when we got to the age
See,
where he was like,
one.
"This is appropriate to do." Like watch these
Caddyshack.
drunk a-holes.
Yeah.
Caddyshack is more of an adult movie, but still
So
in the
is
sports.
Bad News Bears.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't watch Bad News Bears yet till a little bit later, but I went to see Air Up There like on my 10th birthday or something. Like we took all the kids to go see the Air Up There.
Oh yeah,
Nice.
that was Cool Runnings for me.
Oh
I
yeah,
think
Cool
my
Runnings.
birthday was
Another
like
great
going to see
sports
Cool
movie.
Runnings.
Yeah.
Great movie. Yeah. That was the thing. I mean, nowadays I don't think kids take their parties to the movies. You would know better than us, Mike, but what do kids do
The
for a
last one we
birthday?
would have was when Wilson turned 10. It was we had the party plan and everything, but it was the first year of COVID and it got canceled. So
Mm.
didn't happen.
What were you going to go see?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and now I don't remember.
Probably an Avengers movie of some kind, some type of
Probably
Marvel movie.
that's right in that time frame. Yeah.
I did see the latest Captain America, and it was not good.
I missed that one.
I have to say, that was the one with
I agree.
Harrison Ford. And
Yeah, I watched that on the flight to Joey's wedding.
did you
That's-
like
that
it?
was one of
It
the
wasn't
films.
very
No,
good.
it was horrible.
Yeah, it was bad.
Thunderbolts wasn't terrible. I saw that one. It was
People like
okay.
Thunderbolts. People
Yeah.
like Thunderbolts. I want to see the new Fantastic Four. I'm interested in that.
I am not. I've never been interested in Fantastic Four.
I did like the Captain America pick better than our Will Riley pick. So,
Uh,
nothing is worse than this Will Riley pick the Wizards did. So it's
they got to remind
Bring
us
it
every
back
once
to
in a
a-
while. Where
So
Wizards fans-
you're not of the opinion that it's late. It doesn't really like. I
well,
can
this
kinda
pick
take
doesn't
any-
matter. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
yeah,
The
yeah.
odds that it's going to hit are so extremely low, and in some ways, I hope that the Wizards know something I don't. that they can look at this menagerie of terrible stats and measurements and shorter T-Rex arms and go, yeah. No. This guy's got it. He's got an
I mean,
IQ for
Maxey
it. He's
was
got
number
something.
21. I know that it's unlikely, but it's a shame because we had literally talked about like 5 different players that we all liked.
Oh yeah,
And
I mean, there's plenty of people that are in there that I think that would be useful. So like, who knows? But I don't love it. I don't love it, Pete.
So the Pelicans took. Wait a minute. They took Fears and they took Derek
There's some
Queen.
trades going on here. I forget exactly. It's so.
And so
annoying.
now they're picking again, but it's actually Atlanta.
Yeah.
We still got Asa on the board. We still got Jace Richardson on the board. And we are about 40 seconds from getting to the 3-hour mark. So we're going to call this.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah.
I need to get some dinner.
I don't think anybody needs to watch the last 10 minutes. They'll probably be like, why am I still here?
Well, both of you, thank you so much for being here yet again. This was fun. Mike, even playing on the road, we appreciate that.
Dude, it was super fun. I had a good time just getting drilled on FP&A analysis and
You could have just stopped on
forward-looking
drilled.
rate curves. Yeah. It's been a good day, but this is a good cap off to the day.
Yeah, man. Well, good luck on the rest of the work trip. And until next time, although we didn't talk much about them, go Hokies.